the next way to go, man. Find names that have sort of done moves like this, come back in, found a base, and are ready to rip off of that. You know, because if you're long here at $140 or so, and it actually gave you $140 today, it looked like, right? Well, that's to start with. Pulls back into 155, that might have been fine too. But find a name that, and I, you know, a name that I'm looking at maybe even is SMR. And I don't know if the power sort of, you know, where that's going with SMR and with the nuclear reactors and SMR small modular reactors. Of course, the company's NuScale. We have Oklo as well. But, you know, pullbacks into levels like that and then go on news, nice. I would say for QTechs, don't get greedy. I mean, Joe just had that story about the weed names as well. You know, up to 230, 240 looks like it's been topped out there. And then just because we had mentioned SMR and because I'm looking at it, it seems to want to hold this $8 to $10 mark. Now, whether or not this goes down, like Neil said, he's in this name at don't know what price, but you know, if this does wind up holding, it could have a nice move higher, you know, off of some of these bases. A name that's really got going earlier, and even if we zoom out there, it's been down here before, so that's 10 to 50. Could it do it again? Potentially there for NuScale. So, you know, good little level here, goes all the way back. You know, this was $10 in March of 24. So there's lots of opportunity, I think, for NuScale to sort of mature back into some of those levels. And yeah, this could be one of those names that does have a run in it. Look, thank you so much to everybody today. I mean, it was such a fantastic day. We want to say to everybody here in Canada, happy Canada Day. It's been a blessed day here with this trade, as we are still $25 in the money on that meta trade. Thank you everybody for watching that. It's been a good one. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to Adair for everything today. Thank you for everybody switching over there. Tiffany, Andre, thank you for all your hard work again. Thank you to Sharif for the morning note. I'm out of here. I'll see you back at 2 p.m. It's the midday. Ciao for now.
But then how you shut down now? Oh, okay, it's different there.
Yeah.
It's Canada Day.
Yo.
You ready, Assassino?
What's going on?
Pow, 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 pow.
Pow, pow, pow.
Listen, the individual next to me,
Linda, listen.
Needs no further introduction. I'm gonna let the man, the myth, the legend, the Jedi Master himself do the roll call, just the dude, he likes to say. But this individual right here, Obi, he is the one Kenobi, is going to be doing today's roll call. Fired off.
All right, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's see who is in the house with us here. Michael P. DeRuyter, what's going on, man? It's been a while. Bob the Builder, without any ease there. Greetings and salutations. What's going on? We got Bobak in the house. Darwin the Trader. Yo, what's going on? Some familiar names for sure. Dropping in here. Big O, Nephew in the house. Wow, these names are moving real fast here. Shane B. Smokin'. Oh man, I definitely got smoked today. We got Adam Deleuze, or no, Adam James Abroad. Oh boy, in the house. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, there's a lot of people coming in. DDT.
Ooh.
214 saying Obi and Joe. Yeah, today is the Obi and Joe, the Joby.
Yeah,
so
and tomorrow as well, too.
Tomorrow as well, yeah. Sharif's off. Sharif, he said he have another soccer game today?
Going to the south, my boy.
Oh, okay, all right.
Headed over, you know where everything is bigger, right?
Texas,
baby. Yeah. Everything is bigger in Texas.
Apparently all my exes.
Oh, are they?
They also live in Texas.
I don't think it would be apparently. You would know if they were all there. So apparently.
Maybe.
All right, guys, good stuff. Hold on, give me uno momento there, mi amigo. All right, now we're ready. All right, let's fire things off, guys. VinFast continues to expand beyond vehicle sales. This week, VinFast India partnered with Shriram Finance to support EV financing access with Green SM, launched all-electric ride-hailing in Kazakhstan with VinFast VF6 vehicles. Together, these moves highlight VinFast's broader mobility ecosystem. You can find them on the NASDAQ under ticker VFS today, ladies and gentlemen. Go check out VinFast. Man, it's going to be an absolute banger with Obi and I, right? Today, Joe the Chad says, my friend Nick Martin, Obi's back in the house. Glad to have him, man. How's Jose doing today as well? Katina Man and I were both trading Facebook. Yeah. Even Obi, you're not long FBL.
I'm
and
definitely
apparently
not.
I'm long from
What is
599.
FB? Oh, that's
It's the leverage.
the levered ETF.
Yeah, that's what
Okay,
what I'm long
Yeah,
over there.
I know you like your levered ETFs. I forget that it used to go under the ticker FB.
Yeah.
And I guess they never changed.
They never
the
changed
ETFs.
that. We don't
So
have.
it should be like an METL or something.
We don't get.
Right?
Well, we have METU, but we don't have access to that one.
Oh, we actually don't?
Yeah. So I've tried to put in a couple of tickets, but what we will do is we'll correct that right now. I'm only sitting on about less than 10% right now. My boy Frex Gateway filled 25.72. Man, that's two shablamos right there. Bang, bang, bang. To the long side. Yeah, I mean, hey, man. As soon as I heard that news, we've been waiting for this for quite some time. Ready, fight. Here it is on Meta, guys. A nice little grab off of those lows and continuing to climb higher. Katina, man, what did I say to you? But look, I got my thing here now. We're going to hit the oh boy for OB. I said, watch out. This is going to be an all-day trender. This is what Meta shareholders, including myself, have been waiting for. And sure enough, it's been announced. I've been talking about this for months.
But see, my mistake today was I knew that it had news.
Yeah.
I didn't really look into what the news was, and I was like, well, this might be a little overpriced for the day today. Yeah. And eventually got squeezed out of the position.
That's all right, man. If you want to talk, if you want to talk about it,
we can talk about it later. Yeah. We got a long time. We can review that trade. I kind of did some review earlier. I knew where I was wrong, and I know Sean and I have talked about this before. There's some trades, man, you're just so like strong-headed. You're just like, in the moment that you're wrong. This is probably going to stop you out, but you still kind of wait for it to wait for you to get stopped out and let it stop you out. But that's kind of what happened with me on Meta today. But SPCX, that's the one that's taking the real landing today. And this is the one I should have been shorting. I actually borrowed shares on this one this morning. Let's take a look at the 1-minute chart here on SPCX. Take a look at this beautiful opening range drive. Guys, guess what? We're all the way back into the 70s here. I remember last time I was here with you guys, this ticker IPO'd, and it was absolutely wild. 150. We had 1 million shares on the bid at 150, and since then it's been doing some crazy things. But today, shorts are definitely very much in charge as we pull back below this 170 area. What's up, Sia?
So much. So GM is down on the day, 0.45%, but cumulative EV sales have topped 100,000 vehicles at the end of April, but Q2 US deliveries are 714,896 units, which is down a bit of an uptick. However, overall the stock is down, but there was a bit of an uptick. Just GM, General Motors, cumulative EV sales topping 100,000 vehicles at end of April, but Q2 vehicle deliveries are down 4.2% in the US.
Good stuff.
Thank you very much. Yeah. No. I think one of my top missed trades for today was definitely that SpaceX short 170. Keep it clean. You don't really have to go off of too much. Low coming in right at 169. Nice. Comes in, gives us a little bit of a chop right off of the open and then breaks that as well. So if you don't like to get short on that 169 right away and giving it all the way to 172s, guess what? Opening range low happens to be at 167s, and that gives you a little bit more of a tighter risk to get involved with here for absolute puke city down below 160s, 159s, 158s and some change current day low and shopping around between that 159, 161. But SpaceX going to continue to be on watch in this relatively strong ES, but not as strong of a NASDAQ here. And I know this morning I was looking at some of the Mag 7 names and not really doing anything too crazy. I know SMH. I know Sean was mentioning that before. SMH was definitely on watch today. Strong selling in some of these chip names here. You can see SMH 625 coming in. I know Intel was selling off pretty aggressively. That one continues to sell off right now. 135s in and around that opening range high, all the way down to 128s and some change here. So it seems like the chips are definitely taking it on the nose today. After yesterday, we had an aggressive bid. I know Monday was absolutely solid. I know a lot of people like the reversions, me included. And oh boy, were the reversions absolutely amazing on Monday. And I think in terms of reversions, as far as reversion strategies go, I think I had one of my best days when it comes to reverting certain stocks and certain baskets of names on Monday. And yeah, it's rare that you get a full-on V-shaped recovery. And not only that, you come in.
What was that on? Sorry,
that was on a lot of different tickers there on Monday, where we had that V-shaped recovery through the opening range highs, and then day two continuation on coming in on Tuesday on a lot of these names here. And if you saw prior day highs or pre-market highs, and you looked at that as a bit of a target to get involved for a day two play on some of these chip names, you really got that move yesterday. So strong start off to the week. It seems like we're taking a bit of a pullback on hump day, though.
Yeah. I mean, hey, man, well, the SPY, I was just talking to Time for Alibaba. Yeah, we'll take a look at the Alibaba in Uno Momento. I was just talking to Gaurav in the chat. I'm like, the SPY is a lot stronger than what the NASDAQ is here today. And then obviously with that being said, I have to go and take a look at the financials. We have JPM up 1 point something percent, and then you have Robinhood, who was pretty strong today. Memory selling off a little bit here as well. So, I mean, hey, I think there's going to be a good opportunity to get involved with the NASI here. Tesla putting in a new high of the day. SpaceX going oppo taco right now, but consistent higher lows on this bad boy. But to speak of Alibaba, and then that way we can head over, because my guy Nick Martin was asking me, hey, Joe, can we take a nice Scott T? He's like, hey, Joe, can we take a look at NVDA options chain? We have Nimit. Any small cap names on my scanner? No, honestly, Nimit, I don't have anything. Like, I have one trade on here today, and it's been Facebook, or sorry, Meta, I should call it, because I'm in FBL, and we're just gonna ride this wave as long as we potentially can. If we get an aggressive pullback at some point, in my opinion, as I was stating bright and early this morning, that's gonna be my ad opportunity. Okay, so we entered super small right here, a fraction of our risk, and then that's when we went full size, and then we held through that high of the day break, right? I said this is either going to establish a lower high to the point where we get stopped out for a small loss, or I'm going to wait until we breach through those key pivot levels. And fortunately, the latter half happened, and then I really, really wanted to add up here, and then there was another good add opportunity. So with that being said, a pullback into 25, I think that's going to be my green light to go. But the more legs that we put in, the more risky it gets. Moving forward, I haven't forgot, we're going to take a look at Alibaba right now. I know Sean likes Baba. My issues with these ADRs, it's crazy for me to use this comparison because it's completely two different worlds, but 50% off of the highs, right? Like, it's almost like experiencing what we've been going through in the crypto world, is that one day you're hot, the next day you're not, and everybody seems to forget about you. Just understand your risk when you're trading these ADRs. Listen, it's beaten up. If you like it, then by all means continue, look to allocate some. But what I often say is don't go all in at once, okay? It's that simple. And if you get a pop-up into 120, that's cash money in my for you. So what I'm going to be looking at here now is for my boy Nick Martin. Shout out to him. I was going to try to find a reference there. Who keeps hitting the old boy there? I was like, all right. So here it is. So it's like, hey, Joe, can we do a quick analysis on the options chain? Guys, don't forget it's a short week, July 2nd. A lot of contracts are going to be expiring. And here, we're running into some supply zones at that $200 marker, okay? So just keep that in mind. We've really been struggling around those levels. NVDA at 196. We had struggled breaching and holding it on yesterday's session, but maybe we can start to break through and absorb some liquidity, all right? So it was a solid recovery. At the lows, we were down 3%. This was my opportunity to get involved in some NASDAQ. I've missed that train, but look at the larger market capitalization names really start to pick up a little bit of steam here. Tesla high of the day. We're at Meta almost at the high of the day, and then we're at a key inflection point here for NVDA. This was going to, I really like this entry point right there, Gorb. This is the 1 minute time frame. I don't know if you've seen that, but I was like, oh, why don't I take it? But I didn't want to get overly greedy and right at the volume weighted average price as well too. We got this one rocking and rolling, but at times, listen, I'm fortunate enough to eliminate all the losses here from yesterday to make it flat, and then Monday we had a pretty good day, so not too bad. I know it's the start of a new month, which is we're off to a pretty good one, and I'm not going to complain because there's plenty of time left, all right? So don't just keep that in mind, guys. Don't get too gung-ho, and let's see if we can continue on the path that we are right now. SPY relatively well. Let's actually head over to the banks before we send it back to Obi, give our boys some mic time here because I know everyone was excited to see him back here, including myself. 1.7% JPM, Morgan Stanley 0.9, Goldman Sachs 0.8%, Citibank, Obi, just in case you're curious about Citibank, up 0.6%, MasterCard and Visa just collecting pure interest off of the backs of the consumer right here, up 2.4%, Visa up 1.8%, so not too bad of a look there in some of the financials. And some of the regional banks actually yesterday, regional banks catching some heat, and then a couple of upgrades by Raymond James for some of the regional banks.
Yeah, I think banks got to be on watch in and around that. I guess earnings was around the corner there. I don't know when.
Like a week or so or around that.
Yeah, so I know the fresh bout of earnings usually kind of starts off with some of the banks or the airlines here. And Bubba, I don't know how true this is, but I think I might have seen it on some post this morning and in passing, or maybe sometime yesterday, where something about the CEO sold like 90% of his holdings. I don't know if you guys heard that at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I might have seen that in passing this morning. I did have it on watch this morning, but nothing crazy. It wasn't doing anything crazy in the pre-market session, but absolute craziness off of the open, straight line up all the way up to 99.44s on Bubba there. But yeah, no, there's been a lot of stocks in play. And I don't know if you've been watching the blue ocean market at all, man. But I think right now that's for me, that's where the biggest party's at. And some of the most I would say most straightforward edge I'm finding in BL for sure. In NCSA in normal trading sessions from about 9:30 to 4 o'clock. Sure, there are different strategies that are showing up every now and then, but I think it's always good to kind of, open up that toolbox and see if you have anything that will work for different markets. Because honestly, man, I am a very strong believer of price action as king, and that there is a fractal nature to price action. So whether I'm looking at it on a second chart or a 5-minute chart, or a daily chart, or a weekly chart, or a monthly chart, maybe even a yearly chart, it's all the same. It's all the same participation, like buyers and sellers, and how price moves around for sure. But we'll be right back from Sia.
Yeah, Google a bit to the downside here. Just take a look. Google Cloud has completed a Dutch DPIA for EU public use. So it said that it's working with SLM Rutsch, which is a Dutch central government vendor management body. It's completed a data protection impact assessment of Google Cloud. So Google has said that the result positions it as a safer choice for EU public sector organizations. Is coming as per the company. Google a little bit to the downside.
All right, thank you very much there. Google, yeah, no, I think Google was on my watch. Was it yesterday or the day before? No, I think it was Monday. Yeah, no, I think I tried a couple of reversions here on Monday on Google, and yeah, that's why it never really pulled back. Absolute strength coming into the beginning of the week. Even yesterday, we saw some of the stocks that I showed earlier sold off pretty aggressively and then bid up just as aggressively and then some going into the end of the day. Google did not show that kind of behavior. Google's strength came into the week real hot right off of the open, held that opening range, that consolidation, stepped up, and continued higher into the closing imbalances. And yesterday as well, held within the range of that Monday's price action. And today coming in with another step up into 360. So I do like this Google for sure. So Mr. Confluence in the house. Yeah, man, for sure. You got to have Scott Tomlinson. You got to have Confluence, man. Confluence would be the second biggest thing that I look for. Initially, just you want to look for setup, you want to look for the trade, but we talk about like candlesticks and candlestick patterns and a price action and stuff like that. By itself, it's absolutely just noise. It doesn't mean much by itself. Like a candle by itself or a consolidation.
A single candle is what you're saying.
Yeah, like a single candle, or even like think about what I just said. There's a fractal nature to price action. A single candle on the 5-minute chart might be 5 different candles on a 1 minute.
Well, will be 5.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I think when it comes to just like structure, like some of the stuff that I'm watching, it doesn't mean anything by itself. But when you confluence some of these things with other factors, that's when you really start getting a trade idea and a trade setup on your hands, right? Anybody can take a look at a chart and be like, oh yeah, that's a flag, that's a bullish flag, or that's a bearish flag, or that's a consolidation, or that's price compression, or that's whatever. That's capitulation, that's a blow off top. It doesn't matter, right? What actually matters is, can you confluence that pattern with other factors to increase the probability of things working? And confluence is exactly what needs to be emphasized there, right? So I know a lot of people talk about trying to get involved with chart patterns and indicators, and they're just like, that never really worked. And I was kind of one of that school of thought when I first started on the floor here as well, where I was like, I spent 4 months pretty much every day trying to trade around VWAP. VWAP doesn't mean anything. I don't need it on my chart. I remember saying those words. Guess what? Now, in certain places, I definitely have VWAP on my chart. I definitely use moving averages. I remember there was a time as well where I was like, well, moving averages are absolutely trash. They don't really mean anything. They don't work. But guess what? When placed in the right position and at the right time, in the right setup, with the right nuances, it can mean everything.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the biggest difference here. AMZN saying VWAP does not mean anything. By itself, it could mean absolutely nothing.
Well, let's be real here, man. I agree with you. You got to find what works for you. And you know how the old saying goes, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? As long as you're becoming profitable at the end of the day, whatever you do, continue to do, especially if it's working. If it's not working, then by all means, work around those things. As you just mentioned, it's like you focused and you did something for X amount of time. It didn't work for you, but then you've managed to find a way where you implemented it into your system and made it work. So that's well, sorry, Jacques. I know that's a little bit of a dramatic saying, but it's true,
not
man.
The cat.
But we'll leave the cat. I mean, did you ever watch the documentary "Don't Mess with Cats"?
I think maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
really good. It's about
on Netflix, right?
Fire, absolutely. So exactly. I love cats. I love all animals, to be honest with you. But no, in all seriousness, as long as you find something that works for you, continue to do so. All right.
I mean, it's great that you say that, because even like using certain indicators. It's just like sometimes you just got to keep it simple. Is it holding the moving average? Is it holding VWAP? Then use the indicator. Right? And if it's not doing it, then you don't have to let it prove to you that indicator means something, right? There are times where like it can be annoying if you're on the wrong side of the trade, but it can be great for you if you're on the right side of the trade. And you see sometimes price will dip back into moving averages and buyers just step up every time, and you're just like, these damn moving average algos or these damn MA buyers, like when are they gonna let up? But guess what? You're seeing and you're observing a phenomenon happen and occur. The question becomes, what's the decision making that you're gonna have around it, and how are you gonna manage your positions in and around some of the information that's being presented? Because most of the time it's all noise, right?
So
we try to look for, exactly, John Cutler. Do or do not, you must.
Yeah,
I think isn't that how? No, that's.
Where's that from?
It's try or try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
Someone asked me, well, we get to peel in the orange, guys. You know, we get our daily vitamins in here. via the orange. Other than that, guys, like, look at this move. I was talking to Gorv in the chat. I'm like, what a missed opportunity on my behalf on the TQQs at the volume weighted average price. All the stars were aligning, as I often say, and I didn't pull the trigger on that one. SPY is at a new high of the day. We must be close to, I guess we had a little bit of a gap down bright and early this morning, guys, after the blue ocean. I know Obi was keeping an eye on it, so some selling stepping in there, and then at 4 a.m. right when we open up, you can see that we get a little bit of a gap down, but that's filled. It was filled in the pre-market. You're now up to 750. Where's the all-time high in the SPY? All right, we're still a little bit off of it, but another strong session, 4 in a row at this point, guys, closing green. And Tesla has really started to pick up some steam over the past couple of days, guys. What we will do is we'll head over to the options chain and take a look at some of those. I was going to say thank you for something. All right, good stuff there. What I do want to do is head over to the options chain. We're going to take a look at Tesla because I know a lot of people. Katina Man's headed to the gym, even though it's Canada Day. He's still getting that work in. Nice job there, brother. It is a warm one outside, so guys, make sure you stay on hydration, nation. But also, the most important thing, people think it's water that you need to have when it's really hot out. No, you actually need to eat some food. Anyways, aside from that, let's head over to the chain. We're going to thank you, Assassino. Now what we are going to do is take a look at it. Tesla, we have some options expiring today. Okay, and there's nothing crazy from an open interest standpoint. So what are we going to do? We can head over to next week's, at the start of next week's expiration cycle, July 8th, 7 days away, and see if we see anything, but I'm not. So what does that mean, potentially? So $430, this is where we're going to have the most amount of open interest, 13,400, 29,000 contracts at that level, okay? That's huge. 11, you're up 2%, $11 on the underlying. If we can hold above which we currently are, and we're closer to this 432 strike price, there isn't much from a supply amount in the options chain, because don't forget, you're not going to be constructing, you're not going to be diluting the float or the shares. These are actual shares that are already out on the outstanding market, okay? So here it is, 432. I think there's some room to run here in Tesla. And if we take a look at the daily, I think that might be a little bit more of a correlation, and we can see what the price action's up to. And we talked about a key level. At this pace, we're headed for this zone, in my opinion, okay? So we can remove this because that's no longer important, right? Like there was a level there that we were talking about. This base has been holding up. We've broken this trend line, so we can remove some of them. We've broken this trend line. Now, where is that next pivotal moment here for Tesla? I think that's going to be at that 450 marker. If it breaks, watch out for that next leg higher. I'm not saying it's going to happen rapidly or very quick, but at some point it will happen. And especially when you're on your 4th straight green day, I like the way the look of Tesla right now.
Yeah, what's I think a couple people in my Discord pod here talking about Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart got smoked.
Yeah, what was the news on that one? There was some intraday. Nothing on Walmart. Okay, all right. So thank you, Adara. Adara said there was no news on Walmart. She said she looked, but yeah. Absolute craziness this morning.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Obi. There was something that came in at 11:11. Adara, so facing slowly comparable store sales, says Cleveland Research. So maybe that
maybe.
Yeah, it was it was way after. It came in at 11:11 as I.
The relative volume here and the price, the action and the volume actually started coming in at 6:30. So maybe someone knew something at 6:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone always knows something, but with like how do I interpret this without going a little too crazy with my tinfoil hat or suit and keeping it simple? I'm just going to be like, all right, well, volume came in around 6:30. Sellers were dominant. Guess what? Coming in off of the open, sellers are also dominant. Pre-market low breakdown. And what may have alerted you towards Walmart this morning? Well, if there wasn't any news, you got to have that relative volume scanner on and throw that up to see this one come up on your radar here, doing almost about well, it started off around like 3 to 4. But averaged around more like 7 to 9 times relative volume coming in off of the open on Walmart. What's up, Sia?
Thank you so much. I'll also keep an eye out, but I'm not seeing anything on Walmart as of now. But I'm just going to pause for a second. Kazim Garibabad, who's the Deputy Foreign Minister for Legal and International Affairs of Iran, saying that no meeting has been held between Iran and U.S. delegations in Doha. And he's also saying that Iran's delegations meetings were held with Qatari and Pakistani delegations to follow up on the implementation of the Islamabad MOU. Just keep an eye out. USO was a little bit to the downside. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister making comments.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, no, some stuff happening here on USO potentially. I remember, man, this stock was an absolute solid vehicle to trade around, especially when we started getting some real volume here. I remember I still have, if you guys were around, I still have some of the charting up from those initial days when USO got its volume and spike, and we saw that multi-year breakout happening off of I think it was the 80s, but we'll just go in and check what's happening there as of right now on USO. Talk about a beautiful, beautiful backside move, right? The volume has dissipated. Take a look at this, guys. This is some beautiful stuff. Let me get rid of these indicators and lines for a second here. Take a look at this beauty. When the volume comes in, see, this is the breakout that I'm talking about. A multi-year breakout, 2021s all the way to 2026s, sideways chop, range base around 65s, and then a hold on the ask or a range resistance in and around 83s to 85, somewhere around there. Guess what? We come in, we gap up, we pull back in, we bounce off of the range highs. This happened on the week of March 2026 here, and since then this thing has been having some absolutely wild moves. Crazy chop 154.08's the high. Guess what? The trend has broken. It actually, I guess by definition for me, broke around, let's go to an hourly chart here, and again, got to be watching oil futures for this one a little bit closer as well, but I would say this trend started to kind of break in around 125s, maybe even a little bit later. So in the middle of June here, 120s, maybe you're like, all right, well, we're finally giving up some of these prior supports from the past couple of months as USO trades lower, and things have started to cool off, at least in terms of the price action here on USO. Back below 110, so it should be interesting. Let's throw up some of those indicators that I had on here and see how that's going. So I did have a very long-term anchored VWAP here. We never really got down into that area until now. Over the past couple of weeks, had a bunch of support and resistance levels. We've traded well into them and well back below them as well here, and now back below this anchored VWAP from all the way in. Where's that volume spike from? In June of 2025. So. Almost a year ago. We got a headline here. What is that? USTR Career UMCSA shifting to rolling talks. No renewal. Okay, interesting. That reminds me of CMCSA that I traded. I think I was trading it on Monday here. That was pretty decent Monday. I came in. This was I think probably one of the top trades for me this week was Comcast opening drive short coming in on Monday. Some news there in the pre-market session. I kind of forget what the news was, but gapping up, pushing up higher, kind of looking weak, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, when you start cracking some of these structures coming in to the open, I like the short. And 27s, you had to just blink, and 27s were just gone coming in coming into the open. I got short 26s for a pull in. Didn't really quite crack 25s right away, so I didn't have this secondary leg from 24 halves all the way back down. Got some continuation, but we're still kind of consolidating within that range here on Comcast. Now I know those other stocks that were very much more in play, and I think AMD was definitely one of them. Maybe not on Monday, but yesterday, as it attempted some fresh all-time highs here. Take a look at this price action, man. This is kind of the stuff that I like to look for. I like to get involved with. This is an all-time high wick here yesterday, 564s on AMD. Pulls back, decently. VWAP hold, VWAP reclaim. Here you might be like, this could be winding up, this could be building up, you could be positioning in for this. But guess where this action becomes absolutely clear that this is going to head higher? I think that happens right here at that 565 mark, where you have an aggressive bid that came into this area off of the open, flushed off of it, giving you an area of resistance to go off of. And take a look at what that does coming in to, when is that? Around 11 o'clock, 11 to 11:30, going in at 12 o'clock. You have that really tight consolidation, price compressing at the upper range of price action on the day, and then the breakout of that range. And you can see here, that's confluence, talk about confluence, with that morning structure, with increasing volume, expanding volume going into the breakout, and then volume that continues and holds as well as price pulls back for another stair step into the close. Now, AMD was probably one of the top stocks to trade yesterday for that all-time high breakout. Today, we're seeing some relief here. And again, we talk about how the chips and the chip sector itself has seen a little bit of a pullback on the day today. I don't know how our friend NVIDIA is doing. Okay, NVIDIA has made a decent recovery here, but I was watching both SMH and Intel here. We'll take a look at some of our other friends, Micron and SNDK, just right after this. But yeah, SMH selling off, trading in the lower end of its range on the day today. SNDK, we'll check some of the memory names here. Maybe a bit of a reversion back to VWAP here. I don't have VWAP on. Let me just throw that on here. Volume weighted average price. We don't need these Bollingers. We don't need Bollingers right now. But yeah, SNDK looking a little bit weak here on the day, and same with Micron. But yeah, that's kind of the look on some of the tech sector. We'll be right back with Adara and
Warren.
Indeed, we will be talking about the European close. It's Canada today, but now it's time to talk about Europe. What were the biggest things to look for at this close of the European market today?
Thank you, Adara. Happy Canada Day, everyone. So basically, European markets started the second half of the year quite defensively, especially after a blockbuster second quarter. Investors taking a measured profit-taking tone. We see not a lot in the red, but still in the red. So quite defensive, especially in luxury and some consumer trimmings in the Euro Stocks 50. DAX in Germany, a little bit flatlined, just below their 25,000 ceiling yesterday. And in France, mainly hit by soft industrial sentiment and minor cool down across luxury lines. Some of the top stories from the European markets, Eurostat's flash estimate revealed that inflation slowed to 2.3%. Compared to that of 2.6% in May. So softer consumer price metrics, giving the ECB some policy flexibility, especially right now as their officials are gathered in Sintra, Portugal, for that ECB forum. We heard Kevin Walsh speaking a little bit just now, not really dovish, not really hawkish, nothing there, but it's something. And other than that, defense stocks, they made a rebound, staging a strong high volume recovery after some recent liquidations. So we got some defense names like Germany's Reignites, that rose by about 4%, and also some structural buying in Rank Group, Hensoldt, and also Sweden's Saab. I mentioned it earlier, luxury and retail lag. So consumer-facing sectors faced heavy headwinds. Luxury consolidating near term. We heard about Associated British Food, that's the owner of Primark. They dropped by about 2.7%. So that weighed down a lot of averages, especially in London and Paris. A red day in Europe, but not too red. Hopefully it'll get better in the next few days before the holiday.
Yeah, we did have that ECB forum, as one mentioned there. Very entertaining, but not super informative. Of course, this segment is both entertaining and informative, and you can catch it again with One and myself at 3:30 p.m. to talk about the Asian market as we send you back over to Joby.
And thank you very much, Juan. Hey guys, listen, if It's not for me, trust me. You guys see enough of my face, but do it for Obi back in the chat here today, back on the show. And then sure enough, we have Juan doing his segment as well. So hit that, make sure you guys hit that like 5,800. It's 0. That can't be correct. I'm gonna do it. No, it's not a 0. I gotta refresh. You gotta refresh that. Even so, it's at 220 likes. What kind of BS is that? To be honest,
you gotta pump those numbers up.
5,700. We need at least
those are
half
rookie
of
numbers.
you guys hitting that like button. But all right, guys, I'm talking to Scotty T in the chat. Sorry, Scott, I know you don't like it when I call you that, but Scott Thompson in the chat saying, hey, Joe, what are we thinking about Meta? Listen, brother, if we get any form of a healthy pullback, I think that's going to be a good opportunity for me to add a little bit more of a position here. I'm in the hunch, right? You have to take into consideration the fact that this name has been beaten up for quite some time, and then now it's just finally really starting to get going. You're up 10% on that one. Might have to visit you guys. Still got to come down. I'll show you guys a really good time. No, Scott, we will show you a good time, my friend. No,
it is I who shows the good time.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I will provide the liquidity.
Yeah, Obi will provide the liquidity. Man, you better bring your drinking hat. How did I know that, Scotty T? Scotty T, hey man, I'm just that guy. We have a couple of Scots throughout my hockey days as well too. So Scotty T, you're welcome at any time. We'll go for a couple of cold ones there. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Rally. The day I did Meta, long covered call, it continues to climb.
Does he know though?
The Scotty T's?
Does he know?
No, he doesn't.
Scotty doesn't know?
He doesn't. Scotty, well, I've been saying that.
I guess
Did you know that was Matt Damon?
What's that?
Scotty doesn't know was Matt Damon?
Yeah.
The guy who's singing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that for the longest time. Yeah. Anyways, aside from that, guys, waiting for this pullback. And then maybe we can find somewhat of a continuation. The SPY is really strong here. We've been over that. We can head over to our watch list and see what we got going on here. Trust me, plenty to do in the city of Toronto. Yes, we'll take a look at SDOT, especially in the summertime, guys. Walmart getting hit really heavy bright and early this morning. Not great for the long-term port, but down 20%, officially running into bear market territory. Yes, JPM up 2% here today. But what we will do is we'll head over to small cap Landia and see what some of our folks here are going on about. Because SDOT apparently on the run again, 4 million shares traded. This thing's up to $78. Man, what a squeeze on this bad boy. Hopefully some of you have been holding this. I remember trading it on this breakout day when it was in $7 or $8. Now up to $80 on SDOT. I have no idea what this company does, and we can figure out right now what the actual market cap is and everything along those lines. So the flow we can look into as well. So an $80 million market cap, are you killing me? Sadot Group through its subsidiary and RIA Consulting, whatever. Anyways, a lot going on here. Is a commodity trading and consulting company operating under the trade name Tradewell, specializing in integrated commodity trading, risk management, and related services, utilizing Trade OS. Okay, very interesting stuff. So, I mean, hey, this thing is up and gone absolutely parabolic, minting a couple of millionaires, I believe, at this point. Obi, if you've been holding on to that size, let's head over and take a look at it from a daily and get a percentage metric from this specific breakout day. From those lows to the highs, you get 628%. So that's a pretty big return if you ask me, right? So things are looking really, really good here on SDOT. What are some of the other small cap names? Adam James, I've seen you mention it this morning. What did you say?
TC. TC was one of the ones I was looking at.
TC, okay, yeah.
Token Cat.
Yeah, Token Cat here, okay. Token Cat below the volume weighted average price, Obi. Listen, so from what I've learned, and I believe Sharif can confirm this, is when these small cap names are under the volume weighted average price, it's much more difficult for them to get going. So AVGO right here, below VWAP, a lot of them. So it's been a couple of sessions here, Adam James. Where have you been, Adam, Tisha, and Casey, and Bubin, obviously, as well? I don't know how you guys feel about the small cap names, but after the PDT rule, we had a couple super red hot fire sessions. Yep. I think it's cooled down after that point. Yep. So here, look, FBL hitting the volume scanner as well for us here. So let's see if we can find some ad opportunities. Guys, we're going to send it back to see you.
Thank you so much. Just keep an eye out. Amazon, not a big move here, but they just announced that Claude Fable 5 from Anthropic will be available now on AWS. Amazon, not a big move, but just keep an eye out. Claude Fable 5 from Anthropic will now be available on AWS.
Yeah, I was listening to the point that they were thinking about, or they did shut it down, I think, for a bit now, going back up to full operation, which is good. Hey, listen, I don't know if you've watched any stuff on Dario, the CEO of Anthropic.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean,
I was kind of sad they cut off Fable 5. I started using it.
Yeah,
I started using it. And then I was like, this is going to be awesome. I have a few projects lined up, and I'm like, this is a game changer. I'm already subscribed, and they were like, oh, you know, Fable 5, bunch of tokens until at this X date or whatever. And then literally within 24 hours, they were just like, no, the government stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, this can't be public. This cannot be a public tool. It's way too powerful.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's not what was said, but I don't know. Something along the lines of that, and I was just like, all right, well. And you had already seen some of the projects coming out with what people had created using Fable 5, and I was just, I'm still very excited for it, but I guess they need to maybe potentially
some more
tweak
regulation
some things
some more
before making it public again. But I was just like, hey man, it's a tool is a tool, and I want all the ability to use it to my benefits here. But yeah, it should be interesting. I guess they have a backup. I'll have to check on that. I have been really liking GPT lately as well, because I've been switching around.
Yeah.
Because initially I was with GPT, and then I canceled my subscription, and then I went to Claude, and then I added on Gemini, and then Gemini is absolutely trash now. So I kind of just don't even. I unsubscribe to it. Just because of how much both Claude and GPT are just blowing everything else out of the water. Those are the only two things that I am currently subscribed to, and that could change, right? That could change. That could change tomorrow when something comes out and they're just like, oh, you know, this LLM or this agent is much better at doing specific tasks now. Open Router and Hermes saying Darwin the trader. Yeah, I mean, let me know in the chat. What are you guys up to with some of these? I guess you can't really call them. They're not really as much of a chatbot than they were last year anymore, right? Now they're more agentic than anything, especially if you're using Cowork or Codex at all. But yeah. It's
Codex, right? Like
GPT's,
Codex. So GPT has Codex. There's another tool.
I was really impressed with what Codex was able to accomplish. But I was really hoping to make a website with Fable 5, because I saw some of the stuff that people produced, and absolutely beautiful websites just using simple prompts with Fable 5. And I was getting a little excited for that. I do have a website going right now, but I was just disappointed. I had to use 5.5 or whatever Claude was at. One minus Fable 5, but I'm waiting for that to come back.
Yeah, Codex is really good. I personally still like to use ChatGPT for a lot of things. Yeah. I think Gemini.
I went back to GPT. It's really good.
Yeah. I think
Gemini is just not there.
It's good for like image generation for me personally.
Yeah, it's the best one right now.
Yeah, for image generation, you can make those videos and stuff, those short duration videos within it, and so.
I mean, Gemini was good. That's why I had moved.
I don't
to Gemini.
like it as an LLM. I don't like using it like to have a conversation.
No. For image generation, what was it called? Nano Banana.
Yeah, Nano Banana.
It was absolutely solid, but now GPT Image 2 just blows everything out of the water. Right?
Yeah, Codex is made.
It's just so much.
Like,
so
we
much
can do a poll here actually.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's fire up a poll
or
here.
Claude.
GPT, Claude,
Higgsfield
or Gemini.
saying Jay Moretta. Yeah, Higgsfield's pretty solid. I've seen some of that stuff as well. Seedance. I don't know if anybody's used Seedance, but some of the stuff Seedance can produce is absolutely beautiful as well. Definitely gets the gears turning when it comes to ideas for content creation. When it's become so easy and it's right at your fingertips, and you pretty much just have to know how to prompt. And you know what's the best part?
Yeah.
Even if I don't know how to prompt, I'll ask it, how do I prompt for best results, and ask me any questions as well, and then I come up with like the best prompt to give it, and then it gives me something much closer to what I'm looking for here. Nano Banana saying Mr. Jones speaks. Yes, no, Nano Banana was the best until very recently when GPT took over here. But some of these small caps, getting back to the market here, TC was the one I was talking about. Token Cat came up on my radar a little bit later than most. I think I got it on my radar in and around, I think it was around 8:30-ish. But it seems like this was on people's radars right off of the open, 4 a.m., as we got a move from $3 all the way to $8.38 in the pre-market session. Absolutely beautiful backside here. Couldn't really sustain that VWAP coming in off of the open. And then this little structure breakdown. Again, we talk about confluence. I'm going to bring back some confluence here. Take a look at this relative volume on the bottom of the chart. These strong bars here, these bright red and green ones, that's relative volume. And that measures here a 5-period relative volume, which means that it basically measures the average volume for the past 5 periods of trading on this chart for that candle, and tells me how much relative volume the current candle is doing compared to the past 5 sessions for this specific candle. For example, how do I read this? 745, this candle right here, 745 says that it's doing 306,000 times the volume that it has been doing over the past 5 days. Now you can see in the pre-market session, this thing does absolutely 0 volume, so it makes sense why it's going to be doing a ridiculous number in the morning, 300,000 times, because it does pretty much close to 0 in the pre-market usually, and Token Cat giving us some decent moves here. Yes, I do understand the perspective that you were talking about earlier, where below VWAP can have some trouble kind of catching a bid. But guess what? We have been catching a bid here. We had a serious drop off in volume, and it couldn't really break down below 3/2 here. Now we're getting a pop back up into 427 here on Token Cat. We'll see if this one brings anybody any good luck on the day today. Let us know in the chat if that one has,
We got the poll set up
participating
here
or not. All right, we got the poll set up.
Got the
GPT,
poll. What
Claude,
AI
Gemini. What is Muse Spark?
You never heard of Muse Spark?
What?
What? There you go. All right. What tool are you using? We're going to start the voting right now. You got 1 for ChatGPT, 2 for Claude, 3 for Gemini, and 4 for Muse Spark. Chat up there, ChatGPT. There we go. It's going to be tight. Did you vote yet? Adara, Asia, and Juan, did you vote? I haven't seen you in the chat there. Make sure you guys get your vote. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I use 1 and 3, even though I can only vote once. I'm gonna put my 2 votes in, 1 and 3. So let's see how everybody's doing there. It's a neck and neck race here between Claude and ChatGPT. No one uses Muse Spark.
Yeah, what is that? What is a Muse Spark?
What do you mean? You didn't know about Mark Zuckerberg's Superintelligence team with the tool that it's a little bit different.
Is that what Meta's
it's
news
more
this
of an
morning
agentic
was?
feature, I believe. It's Meta's tool, yeah.
That's what the news this morning was?
Well, I should have probably put avocado up there, but I'm pouring a little salt in the wound. No, the news this morning was that they are now going to be a cloud provider. So with any extra compute, they're going to be looking to rent it out pretty much.
Nice. So basically doing some of what their friends are doing. In the
exactly. That's exactly what's happening. Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT. There it is, man. Those 3, neck and neck race. A lot of people still using ChatGPT. And listen, I'm not going to count Sam Altman out. People forget that this guy almost has 1 billion monthly active users, right? At this point, he probably does. It's still that. A lot of people don't like it if you get more in depth, but it was first to market, and I think it still has a lot of popularity amongst people.
Sia saying Perplexity. Maybe
Perplexity should be put up there as well.
Perplexity, it was a thing.
Perplexity, but it's super unreliable sometimes.
It is.
That's what I found as well. I was on Perplexity for a little bit. For pre-market research, but it dropped off my radar.
Exactly.
It's not the best anymore.
I agree. I was doing research. I just barely use AI, but I was yesterday doing just a little bit of research on certain small cap tickers that I was looking at, and the difference that it shows is so humongous that it was showing me some small cap name, which is AVAV on the Russell 2000, which is not even technically considered one, but it showed me it was up let's say, for example, it was up 30% on the day. It showed me that it was up 200% on the day.
Oh, snap.
Which is so wrong, right? Yeah.
No, I think there's a big difference. I was watching this interview with a hedge fund manager. I think it was just yesterday, and he was making this emphasis on how he's been using AI at his fund, and the difference between some of the different models is it's night and day, right? And I really liked his analogy. So I might butcher this a little bit, but I'm gonna kind of regurgitate some of the analogy that he said. So he basically, and I 100% agree with this, and I've noticed this difference as well. If you use the free version of GPT, it's like asking an 8th grader a question on the market, right? Say you have the $20 paid tier or whatever. Yeah. It's like asking a second-year college student.
Okay.
Right.
So we're progressing here as we get up.
So look at the difference.
Yeah.
An 8th grader to a second-year college student, that's on your first payment tier. Yeah. And then if you go even further to the elite or the pro tiers where you're paying over $200 a month, the equivalent of asking it a question is asking someone who has a PhD in the field.
Yeah.
So look at the difference. You're talking about someone who's in 8th grade versus a PhD on the topic, and that's the difference in the level of response and the detail and the knowledge base that you're going to get from asking the same questions to the same LLM, but different pricing tiers. Now it kind of makes sense. You pay for what you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you're paying a lot more to use to use more compute, right? And you're using more of the infrastructure there, and it has a distinctly different level of compute power. So I know a lot of people that are using free versions of AI, and they're just like, AI is crap. That's never coming for my job. Oh, AI sucks. Guess what? Pay for it and figure it out. Because trust me, like, it will make a huge difference. The difference between the $20 one and the $200 one is absolutely huge. And the thing is, not everybody's going to use it to its full potential. I see Monarch in the chat saying, last year, I guess they paid for DeepSeek, and you don't even use it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. If you're not fully using the AI to its maximum capabilities, and I definitely am not, and it's really hard to, but if you're not, then I guess that makes sense. But also do remember that if you're not paying for it, the level of discrepancy in the answers that you're getting is huge. Is absolutely huge.
Big time. I agree.
Right? If you're doing research, like, think about it. You're doing research, or I'm even looking up something stock related. Who am I going to ask? Like an 8th grader who has an eighth grade level of know-how on the topic, or a PhD student, or a seasoned PhD student on the topic? Where's the better answer coming from?
Damn, come with me if you want to live, says John Connor. So everybody, Sia saying AI sucks, and also I'm like, whoa, boo. Juan saying come with me, so he's talking Terminator things. And if you listen to Dario and what he had to say, he's like, there's about a 10 to 25% chance. Listen, I don't think it's going to get to that whatsoever, and we're in the early stages. Not in my lifetime, that is. I could be totally wrong. Mike Peter Ryder saying kill the robots. So I mean, hey man. Each their own. I think you need a, what's that?
Why no Copilot?
Yeah, why no Copilot? I could have put Copilot in there. But let's get a second round of voting here. If we can get that back up here, guys, let's see what we got. I voted 1 and 3. Now, which AI tool are you using? I could have put in Microsoft's Copilot. That would have been an ideal one. But make sure you guys get those 1s, 2s, 3s, and or 4s in the chat if you haven't participated just yet to see what we got going on. But ChatGPT leading the way. Billion monthly active users, guys. Don't forget about that. I'm waiting for my reload, guys. Let's get right back into the stock market here. Listen, we've been riding this one all day. I could do another transaction just so the position board kind of fixes up and we kind of get the feel more because I have every intentions of reloading. Let's see if it pops up there, and bang, there it is. It's 2370 on FBL. We grabbed the lows. I'm posted up at 26s, but if we continuously hold, just due to my positioning, guys, I'm positioned relatively well. That even if we dip a little bit below the volume weighted average price, that's going to be my green light to go. And that, what I'm referring to is a reload, okay? Look at the difference Sorry, I keep swallowing, guys. When I talk a lot, I just get the hiccups because I'm always eating like an orange or something along those lines. So SPY. Anyways, aside from that, this is really, really strong price action when you have almost polar opposite PA here in the NASDAQ, okay? So DRAM heading towards the lows, but then you have NVDA starting another uptick here, Tesla coming in off of those highs, and then we have Meta with a strong catalyst here continuing on that path to the northeast, which is great for the name considering it was down 30%, now only down 20% off of the highs. So things are looking pretty good within this name. I like it. And I'm looking to add a lot more. There goes Z. Mike, Joey, there goes Z. Did you put on Z? Like, what stock are you referring to? Joey Oranges, yeah, Milton Muse. If there's anything that you guys want to go over, make sure you put it in the chat, and we will do so. Shout out to Scotty Boy. Joey, I do a lot of editing, the content creation for our pages and use AI tool. It's so frustrating because it forgets your conversation sometimes after hours. It gets confused a lot.
You gotta turn memory on.
Memory on ChatGPT. It'll remember some. It'll remember your ChatGPT. I know because that's what I use when I have conversations. Because I remember one time, this was actually my scariest encounter, and I told you guys this story before. So it was about winter time, and I'm out at the park with Milo, my dog. And I didn't say anything to my phone. I didn't do anything. And I'm like, hey, Milo, come here. And ChatGPT hops onto my phone and says, oh, your dog, Milo, you're with your Milo. It said something. And I wasn't even having a conversation with it at all, which I was like, oh, okay, that's slightly odd. But anyways, aside from that, it does remember. Gemini is better for Nano Banana as Obi was mentioning, is better for image generation and creating videos. From an LLM standpoint, I think it's absolutely hot garbage. It beats around the bush and it doesn't want to give me a straight answer.
Well, it's garbage for image creation now as well.
You don't like it? But it doesn't repeat itself. That's the issue. Consistency is tough.
Yeah, no, I think GPT is much better with the image generation.
You like it? You like GPT more?
It is much better for image generation.
I was using Copilot at one point for image generation. Wasn't horrible, but other than that,
yeah, I don't know about Copilot.
Claude doesn't beat around it. Exactly, Notorious. You're 100% right. I didn't Mandarin. I personally didn't like it, but if it works for you, then by all means, that is good. Bubble is visible, but let's send it off to Sia here, guys.
Thank you so much. Before we begin, as always, let's take a look at what the three major averages are doing at the moment. The SPY is currently up 0.27%. The triple Qs are falling on the day, down very close to 1%. And for the Dow, it's up 0.56% at the moment. We're going to take a look at certain things I want to talk to you about today. So we're going to talk about Meta first, obviously. Popped more than 10% on the day after Bloomberg has reported that the company is building out a new cloud business that could help recoup some of the billions of dollars that it's poured into its AI and generally AI infrastructure. The company is debating whether it will offer these access to AI models that are hosted on its infrastructure or whether it will sell the access of raw computing power to raw computing power. Also, let's take a look after Nike reported yesterday have been falling lower, but they seem to have made a U-turn, currently up 5% almost on the day after it's reported a sales decline of almost 12% in the Greater China market in its quarterly financial report after the bell yesterday, even while it has beat earnings and revenue estimates. So analysts on Wall Street are being a bit broadly skeptical of CEO Elliott Hill's turnaround plan here. And finally, we're going to take a look at BIRK, that's Birkenstock Holding. Raymond James has initiated coverage of the footwear brand. The analysts have given it a $52 price target, which implies an upside of 20.1%. So they've said that they view BIRK as more of a durable growth story rather than just the market appreciates. And the analysts are also bullish on the brand. They're saying that it has, quote, significantly outpaced its competitors, and they're expecting that the revenue will be up 11% in this year, that's 2026 fiscal year, and 12.8% in the next 2027 fiscal year. With that, BIRK is up 2.23% on the day, and that's it for happening now.
Meta up 9%, obviously. Thank you very much. Yeah, listen, guys, you know where I stand when it comes to the athleisure brand Nike. Again, China being its third largest revenue generation, and if you're really struggling in your third largest, then you're going to have issues across the board. Too much inventory. if you're going to offload the inventory, you have to give discounts. If you give discounts, it eats into your margins, and then therefore you're less profitable. But let's send things off to Obi here.
All right, guys, VinFast continues to expand beyond vehicle sales. This week, VinFast India has partnered with Shriram Finance to support EV financing access, while Green SM launched all-electric ride-hailing in Kazakhstan with VinFast VF6 vehicles. Together, these moves highlight VinFast's broader mobility ecosystem strategy. You can find them on the NASDAQ under the ticker VFS.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, market's kind of a little distinctly different here when I'm comparing both the NASDAQ and the SPY. ES here, you can see ES relatively strong. We've recovered off of the lows there, off of the open. We've broken past the opening range highs, and we've traded well above them, pushing up into 75.80s here. But the Nasdaq, kind of a sideways chop. We did bounce off of the opening range lows, but guess what? Opening range highs still holding, pulls back in for about a 50% retracement, and then pops up once again. So just kind of chop sideways, more sideways action on the Nasdaq we're seeing versus the ES here. There was a comment that I did want to address here because I thought it was pretty funny, and let me just try to find it here. It was something along the lines of, AI is dangerous. We're all becoming so dependent on AI, and that's potentially why it's dangerous. I think the person was ICUP, because I remember during grade school we used to tell people to spell out I cup funny colors and then laugh about it in kindergarten. I still remember that for some reason, but ICUP was the one who mentioned that, and I just want to kind of cover that. Right? So I hear that a lot, where people are like, AI, it's making people lazy. It's doing everything for you. People are not using their brains anymore. It's not the right way. Guess I know I wasn't necessarily around, but watching older documentaries, especially there's one called Floored, when computers became a thing.
Yeah.
When computers became a thing of the natural world that we live in. People said very similar things as well. They were like, computers, they're killing the brain. People are not using their heads anymore. Everything is being done for you. Kind of the similar story of how when your teachers in grade school they would basically tell you that you're not going to walk around with a calculator in your pocket all the time.
Yeah, remember that? That was crazy.
Really?
Crazy time.
Really?
Man.
I mean, sure, being good at quick arithmetics and mental math is one thing, but I don't see anybody doing calculus in their head as a daily career choice. Maybe some theoretical physicists might want to disagree with that statement, but especially I don't really see it that way. I see it as the same kind of argument. You can kind of call it out and be like, AI is bad for everyone. It's smoothing everyone's brains. But guess what? It's going to be the same. It's going to be adapt or die. This is just another tool, and there are going to be people who are better at using the tool versus you. There are people who are going to be worse at using the tool than you are. But at the end of the day, you can't blame the tool for how effective you're able to use in your ability
adapt
to use
or
it.
die.
You got to get better at using it, I think, is the biggest thing. And I don't think there are many people who are fully potentially using these tools to the best of their ability.
No, yeah, dude, you got to think about.
Everybody can kind of grind it out.
Dude, you got to think from a stage standpoint. Like, listen, did you think in the 1900s that we would have electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, where you didn't have to touch the steering wheel, a computer in your hand?
Yeah.
No, adapt or die is 100% it. Yeah. If you don't want to adapt it, then guess what? The chances are society is going to leave you behind, and it's going to be at your own demise. Because if people continuously use it, it's the same. It's like what I say. If somebody won't, if you won't, somebody will.
Yes.
All right. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not or hold your opinion. You have to literally go with the flow with this, man.
Have you seen the documentary called Floored?
No, I've never watched
that. It's free on YouTube. I would definitely encourage anyone who hasn't seen it and you're into trading and you like stocks, I definitely encourage watching it. It is a classic day trading. I wouldn't call it a movie, but more of a documentary. But yeah, Floored, F-L-O-O-R-E-D. It's basically how the pits in Chicago, a bunch of the traders had to switch from trading in the physical pits themselves to computers, to trading from the computer. And you can definitely see, you can kind of study that documentary and kind of study human psychology. And some people just get so stubborn when it comes to change. And they were just like, oh, I'm never going to be able to make money anymore. Guess what? 20, 30 years later, people are still making money from the markets. And again, it's funny that you use that argument as well, and give you a similar one that I like to use. If you told someone, now going back a little bit further, told someone 100 years ago that I could give you a little small black box in your hand, a little small rectangle, and with that you have the knowledge of the world. You could search up anything that you wanted in the world. You could speak to and see anyone else that also has a little black rectangular box in your hand. People would think you were practicing some sort of witch science. Yeah. People would probably think you were like a witch doctor. Exactly, some sort of witchcraft. And that was less than 100 years ago.
Oh, and not even only Obi. You can talk to somebody across the planet if you wanted to within their stuff. Like, listen.
On the moon,
sky is the limit. You have to understand that we have no idea once we're off this earth and we're gone what technology is going to bring. Like, think about it, how much has changed in the past couple of generations. I don't see it. Like, with the tech sector, like the NASDAQ 100 continuously growing, these tech companies having insane amounts of cash aside from what they're spending right now, but they wouldn't spend it if they didn't see some form of ROI. And that's where I stand. I think technology is going to continuously grow. Talking about mining asteroids in space in the next 20 years and all of this stuff. That stuff would have been like, huh? Like, what is even going on here? And I understand the argument. Before we go over there, listen, I understand the argument. People saying, man, it makes you a little bit lazy. Your brains are dead because you get to just hop on a tool and type something in. But are they really? Because it makes you more creative and do things that some people didn't have the ability to do. Like, I had no coding background.
Productivity is like through the roof.
I had no, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And it's like productivity can go through the roof. I had no coding background, and now I can spit out what I wanted to by being just prompts, right? And you refine and you learn a lot more. So it's definitely a growing technology. All right, guys, let's send it back there.
Hi, guys. Take a look here at USO. Keep an eye on USO. Not doing too much here. At day's lows, and actually now, of course, below pre-market lows as well. But comments coming from JD Vance. He apparently said that technical negotiations are in discussions with regards to Iran. So technical negotiators in discussions with regards to this Iran deal. We'll have to wait and see. Yesterday on a podcast, JD Vance, who again, vice president of the U.S., he said that President Trump would not be sending any army to the ground in Iran unless there was, I guess, a direct objective was, I think, the word he used. So just be aware here, guys. More updates. Looks like they are trying to get some negotiations going here still with Iran. Back to you.
All right, well, gold and silver, VIX. How come I'm getting no information on the VIX as the VIX is to the downside here today, Obi? USO down another 3%. Guys, yeah, we'll get back into the stock market, putting in a new local low, guys. So continuing to bleed on this one. That's what we thought. Listen, I'm still in it. We're working on the position board, guys. I could do another transaction. I do want to add a little bit more shares off of the lows right here, just so we can just ride this potentially all-day trend. We're right back at the volume-weighted average price on the NASDAQ. NVDA is holding up pretty well. So, I mean, we'll go across the board. Gold and silver up 2% each respectively. So things are starting to look a little bright. 10% on Meta. Where the weakness is really falling into, Nebius Group is down 13%. DRAM down 9 1/3. STX down 4.3%. Western Digital down 5.4%. SanDisk down 9%, and Micron down 9% as well too. Then you have Dell. Some of the quantum names doing half decent. QuantumScape. This is battery. I understand that. Up 3.5% there, Obi. But look at the crypto. Something that was blood red yesterday. Coinbase up 11%. Look at the buy program on Coinbase today. Almost 12% to the top side. MSTR up 12%. So buy program across the board. And even Bitcoin putting in 2.25 here, guys. So again, we talk about the leverage aspect of MSTR. And there's no specific ratio. It's weird. Like, again, this is up 6 times, literally, on today's session than what compared to IBIT. So this is actually almost like a 6x leverage product. And other days, I've seen IBIT was up like 1% and MSCR was down 0.5%, right? So there's no real fixed ratio in that. Robinhood up 8. What? Robinhood up 8 1/3 here. OB continuing to move a little bit higher. So financial is definitely performing strong. We talked about JPM, but what is going on with PanW and CrowdStrike? Insane. 4 new all-time highs in a row, 4 days in a row for PanW, starting on Friday of last week. And then we have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday putting in all-time highs. And we're not too far off of CrowdStrike here. So CrowdStrike 1.8%, tapping into a new all-time high or relatively close to that. And Zscaler is starting to find some footing. And here's the cyber ETF, guys, not looking too bad whatsoever as it's heading back towards the ATH. Guys, it's time for some small caps with Sia.
Thank you so much, Joe. The IWM currently up 0.6% on the day, very close to 8%. Let's take a look at a couple individual tickers. EDBL is down 13% on the day. The reconvened annual meeting established quorum that was introduced management and addressing 4 key proposals, all of which were approved by all the shareholders. And the board has responded to concerns about financial partnerships as well as emphasized a strategic growth. Secondly, we have KUST. That's up 33% on the day. The company had hosted a Country Stampede Shatters Festival in Bonner Springs, Kansas, and the attendance records have reached over 42,000 plus fans. That was its 30th anniversary festival, so the stock is up 33%. INLF is down 47% on the day, has fallen after the board has approved a 1-for-200 reverse stock split, which will take effect before trading begins on the 6th of July.
Thank you very much for that, Sia. So I think our opportunity here for a potential ad, I've seen what you were saying in the chat, Mike Peter Ryder, who's leading the front on small cap volume, 219 million shares here on LHAI. Looking like it might get going once again, so there could be a potential opportunity for us there. If there's anything specifically in the chat that you guys want to go over, please put it in there. Someone had a really good options question not too long ago, and I answered it. So if I can scroll a little bit and find it, then I'll review it one more time. Let's see if we can, I know. So anyways, it was along the lines of, they were in an underlying asset. The asset itself was up 6%, but the options contract was only up 4%. I don't know if you're still listening. Okay, here it is. I have an options question. On ticker AMPG, strike price 750 for July 17th. The stock is up 6%, but the option is only up 4% with a 50 delta. I don't understand why. Any insights? Okay, well, here's one thing. We got to go over your Greek metrics. What is your delta telling you? What is your delta exactly, your rate of change? Don't forget, until you're starting to get really in the money, so your moneyness starts to increase, or so your in the money starts to increase, is when you get to that 1-to-1 ratio. Now, if it's an at the money contract, you're going to be sitting around that half delta metric. So that means your delta for every $1, your options contract for every $1 change in itself is only going to change $50. Okay, just keep that in mind. But then you also have theta coming into play. Okay, so you're going to lose value of that contract to time decay alone. And it's expiring in a couple of weeks, I understand that. But as you get closer to the expiration cycle, things start to uptick, okay? So I don't know if CBC number 4 is still listening. Hopefully that answered your question, but there's multiple things that you need to take into factor. Joe, can you do options analysis for the dead one? Absolutely, Dila, for asking semi-politely. There's no please and thank you, but we'll take a look at it. It wasn't rude or anything along those lines. So let's pull up AAPL. I'm only pulling your tail. Now, let's find what we got as the market is slowly starting to slide in here. Great answer, cool, 403. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that one. Hangry Wife saying, hey, big dog, OB. Put those questions in the chat. It doesn't matter what it is. OB and I will go over it. But what we will take a look at right now is AAPL. How has it been performing on today? Session. DRAM not doing what I want, so maybe we abandon that one. And to the individual who was asking about Alibaba, things are looking pretty good in that here today on today's session. So this 0 DTE, guys, I mean, 35%. What we want to do is we want to find a high concentration of gamma, and at this $300 marker, we're starting to roll into a little bit of size, and that's going to be on tomorrow's expiration cycle. And remember the past couple of times that we went over the options chain, we were more or less just talking about, hey, we have this supply zone and it's not being absorbed. I suspect that the underlying asset itself is going to close below this specific strike price, and we're shooting at a pretty high accuracy at this point. So let's see. We're 5 points away here on AAPL, putting in a half decent session. You're up 2%, $5 to be exact, from 290 to 295. That's a pretty good look. Now let's see if this can be held up. But we do have a supply zone. Let's see what the hedge funds are thinking here by the end of the week. But I wouldn't be surprised if we close below the $300 marker on AAPL, OB. And anytime, John Pickett, that's the whole point of this stuff. Like, I don't know that's what I'm here for. We put on our trades, but to interact with you guys and to have conversations, because that's where it's all derived from. Like, we wouldn't be talking about the AI tools, and we want to hear everybody's opinion, because for the majority of it, it's all constructive, right? You have the odd individual, the bad apples in there, which unfortunately is how life is, OB. They always have someone raining on the parade, unfortunately. But for the 99% of you, you guys are all positive, constructive individuals, and we're much appreciated for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, a lot of people are talking about, like, why are we talking about AI?
Oh, you're not tapped in there, my boy. Tiffany. You're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
But yeah, no, I know a lot of people talking about, why are you talking about AI? This is a trading show. Is it related? Guys, it's 2026. And it's not January 2026.
Oh.
January 2026 is distinctly different than July 2026.
Okay.
It's July 2026.
Thanks, Trino.
So, thing about AI, guys, is that if you are trading, and yes, this is a trading show, and you're not using AI in one way, shape, or form, you don't have to use it to trade, you don't have to use it to put in positions, you don't have to use it to, manage the trade for you. You could. But if you're not using it in any aspect of your trading process, then you have to really ask yourself some serious questions. Are you actually doing everything that you can and is possible with your abilities in this here market? That's the real question, right? And using AI to facilitate your trading process in today's world is the hybridization of the trader that we've been talking about, we've been looking for all of these years. Before it was just like, hybridization of a trader meant, you had to learn Python, you had to learn about how APIs work, how to automate different things. But guess what? Now you can just do all of that on your own here. But right now we got some breaking news with Adara.
President Trump's back on Truth. I'm just going to load up the Truth Social post, but it does have to do with Micron. I was watching this. It spiked like $10 higher. Here's the post. Big news. Micron, a truly all-caps great American company and one of the, in quotes, all-cap hottest anywhere in the capital W world, has announced an all-caps historic $250 million investment in Trump accounts. Now, this announcement, guys, to get off the post for a second, this was made yesterday. This is not new. But I'll continue because Trump does. This incredible gesture made by Micron's fantastic CEO, Sanjay Mehrotra, will make many children extremely happy someday in the not too distant future. This is the all-caps biggest corporate capital I investment of its kind and will help jumpstart the American dream for these fabulous children as we celebrate America's 250th anniversary. That's really the only part about Micron. He just goes on here about the Trump accounts. But either way here, guys, MU, their announced investment yesterday in these Trump accounts, sending the stock to the upside today as President Trump praises it. Back to you.
Great, thank you. Man. Yeah, a little bit of a plot there. I pulled that up right away because when the president speaks, we've learned over time that you gotta listen.
I think that's the smartest. Honestly, listen, I'll give credit where credit is due. Hey, Ramin. Good morning. Hey, morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Morning. All right. Anyways, no, you know what? You got to give credit where credit is due. 1-0, yes, Congo's up 1-0 versus England. Adam Deleuze isn't even in the chat. Sorry to interrupt you. I think that's the best thing that he could have done is getting individuals, young individuals, invested in the financial markets bright and early, straight out of the womb there. Obi, that might have been a little bit dramatic, but as soon as you gain any form of consciousness, you get to invest in the financial markets. And think about the power of compounding. We talk about this all the time. Imagine just like by the time you're 20 years old, you're heading to college or whatever it may be, you're just already invested in. You're just ahead of the pack, man. I think that's what. Hood is just winning today. That's for sure. I love that one. So I mean, that's what I like the most.
MSTR as well.
Yeah, MSTR is up 13%.
Like,
my boy.
What is Bitcoin up to? I think that might have something to do with this here. Okay, yeah, Bitcoin kind of trending on the day since about 9:30. You get a move from 58 sevens all the way to 60s. 68 halves almost, 60 halves almost, 60,473.99 is what I'm seeing here on the Coinbase exchange, the current day high for BTC USD here. But that call on Micron, I'm going to continue keeping a watch on that Micron here. Tesla taking a little bit of pullback here. Is it time for the reversion? Guess what?
Is it time though?
I mean, the time was probably up here.
The time is now.
The time was probably around 4:31s. We have already pulled back to probably around VWAP. Yeah, there's VWAP right there. In and around 426s and some change. So just Tesla dropping back down in towards a VWAP. But we did say some of these charts look distinctly different. And guess what? Spider continues to climb up the spout here. 750s on the horizon, 749, 36 is current day high. That's where we're trading at right now as the SPY continues to print some fresh prices on the day as we speak. Let's see what you guys are up to here. MU can't hold the bid, saying Katie Dumpster. Let's see, man. Micron, a little bit of a hold here, but guess what? It's been only holding the bid since when is this? Since about 10:48, 10:50, 11 o'clock. Call it. Just round it up. You can see here every time it's come into 10:50s. Boom, there's a bid. Come in here, chop, 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 chop. Yeah, it cannot break the bid for its life right now. That's how I would interpret this kind of action right now, because we talk about confluence, we talk about building the story. So let's go through Micron today. Let's go through Micron and see what information we can extract from the chart, just based off of what's already happened today. And sometimes that can add some confluence to some trade ideas or some perspective as well. So first things first, look at it from the week. Beginning of the week, you had Monday right here, strong selling coming in, and then buyers stepping it up. We saw that on a few of the tech names right there. Micron was one of them that had a beautiful V-shaped recovery. Coming in the next day, sideways consolidation in a range, relatively tight range, comparing to what it did the prior day and some of the days leading into the end of the week as well. So kind of a tight range on Tuesday. Does it step up? That's the question, right? Buyers were able to sustain that strong overcome that strong selling that came in on Monday and close strong on at the end of the day, and then hold those levels coming into Tuesday. So buyers have been in charge for the majority of Monday, and then I guess I would say majority of Tuesday relative to Monday as well, as we're trading above. Guess what? We gap down with the rest of the market. Not only that, we start to sell off below prior day's low. Right here, you can see that strong selling, that wick up into prior day's low, and strong selling comes in beautifully at around 8:30 here on Micron. Micron sells off on that selling pressure coming in off of the open. The opening range low is made, the opening range high is made. The opening range high right here is attempted for a push. But guess what? VWAP comes in, sellers step in at some of these pre-market consolidation range highs. The opening range high false breaks. We break back below, and then now we're trading below that opening range low. Sideways consolidation, chop, 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 chop. Holding that opening range low as resistance, but now we've found a bit of support at this 1050 level. Multiple attempts, sideways action. It seems like some of those buyers, I don't know if they're done, but they've definitely become a lot more passive or hands-off, if anything, is what I'm seeing here in terms of some of the action that's being shown as of right now. So sideways chop, maybe a little bit of no man's land happening here on Micron since about 10:30, 11 o'clock, sideways range, 1064 highs with 1046 lows here on Micron. So now where do we go from here? Sellers have been in charge. We're kind of gapping down, selling off of the open. We've rejected VWAP twice. We've rejected opening range low. Sellers are definitely in charge. Now the question becomes, what's going to happen if we break this low a day? What's going to happen if we continue to hold this 1060s area as a form of resistance? If we can't get properly above this opening range low here on Micron, what is it more poised to do? That's the kind of question that I'm asking here when I look at the Micron chart. Now, sure, this was a great short. If you had observed multiples of these factors, you can be like, all right, volume coming in, rejecting prior day's low after a strong bid, and then sellers coming in. Guess what? Maybe I am trying the opening range low breakdown, and that gives you a bit of a move here towards those 1050s. But again, that's a bit gone now. But you can see how the story built up from the beginning of the week, from the pre-market session, from the opening range action coming into the middle of the day. And that could sometimes add confluence to some ideas or biases that you may have on the stock on the day today. What's going on, Sia?
SPY currently up 0.34%. Let's take a look at our sectors for today and what's going on here. So electric tech, we have NVIDIA down 1.38%, leading. Apple is up 2.04%, but we had that news. Apple's CEO and Tim Cook and EU tech chief Henna Virkkunen have held what both sides are describing as a constructive discussion, and as Apple is working to resolve the regulatory concerns that surround Siri, the AI Siri rollout. We have AVGO down 2.3%, Micron sliding down 8.69%, followed by AMD and Intel down 7.13% on the day. GE's up a little bit, TXN and RTX, Dell up almost 1%. Tech services, we have Google trading flat at the moment, Meta holding that momentum up 9.92%, well, almost 10% on the day. Shares are popping as we heard today after news that the company is building a new cloud business that could help recoup some of this billions of dollars that it's poured into its AI infrastructure. Microsoft up 3.4% on the day. Finance, we're seeing a lot of bullish sentiment over here. A lot of green. BRKB, V, JPM, MasterCard, BAC all up on the day, to, very close to 3%. BRKB up 0.56% on the day. We have retail trade. Amazon is up 1.6% right now. We have Walmart, however, down 4.49%. We heard that news earlier. Joe told us about in the day. Producer manufacturing lagging behind today. CAT, AMAT, LRCX all in the red. CAT down 4.44%. Consumer non-durables is a lot of, there is a little bit of a bullish sentiment here, but also a lot of mixed in KO, PG, and moving over to health tech, we have Lilly still continuing to slide down 0.63% at the moment. It is technically flat, but it's still in the red. ABBV trading flat, as well as J&J. Consumer durables, we have Tesla up almost 2% on the day, followed by utilities. A lot of red here. It's a lot of pull down. I would say transportation is doing pretty well, up in the green. Energy minerals trading pretty flat at the moment, with XOM and CVX trading super flat. Process industries and communications with health services, also a bit of a mixed sentiment over there, but health services kind of leading the pack with a lot of green over there. But we're going to pause and send it to Adara.
More updates here on oil, guys. Keep an eye on USO. Al Arabiya reporting that Iran has requested the implementation of 5 items from the Memorandum of Understanding before they move on to any other issues. That we know they'd already kind of said this, unless we start seeing the MOU implemented, they don't want to discuss things further. Now we're getting a little bit more specifics here. Again, according to this Al Arabiya report, 5 items need to be dealt with before things can move on further here on the Iranian side of this MOU with the USA. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much.
Did you see the latest super chat?
No, I haven't. What?
All right. I think.
Oh, didn't they have a? They had a deal with Marriott this morning.
Did they? Was that what's going on there with Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is reasonable, Daniel. We know what you're getting at here. We can pull it up here. I mean, all right, I'll read it. But let's see what we got going on. For the first time in my life, I'm actually going to do something. We'll rate it here. You can pull it up, Assassino. Watch this. For the first time in my life, I finally can say that I love Coca-Cola. And I'm glad I spent money on Coca-Cola itself. Say yes to the beverage Coca-Cola, kids.
I don't think it says Coca-Cola there.
Well, it does not, but I'm going to, again, we're going to make it more of a friendly show. So deal with Marriott, you pointing that out, but the stock hasn't done anything here, Daniel. This is, pardon me?
It just did nothing on this deal.
Yeah.
Like, I looked at it, but it wasn't going in the watch list.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was watching it this morning for
it hasn't done anything.
It didn't really do too much. Thank you for the super chat there, Rod Rimex here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to say the whole thing, but this market is so manipulated. I don't know. The thing is, man, like a lot of people call the market manipulated, and sure, to a certain extent, it's manipulated. But it's funny. The funny thing is, I've heard more people call it manipulated when they're losing than I have people call it manipulated when they're winning. Hey, listen, the market is being pushed around by all sorts of participants all the time, right? Just because you think it's manipulated, which it might be, doesn't mean that I don't know. You just got to get better at with the market.
Didn't one of the African
get good?
Didn't some government individual in Africa say it's only corruption if you're not involved?
Oh, yeah, he said it's not corruption if I'm not involved.
No, I swear he said it's only corruption if you're. You only feel it's corruption if you're not involved.
Yeah,
if you're involved, then you know what I mean. It's just like you're not going to complain about it at the end of the day. So something along those lines. Crazy talks. I'm in some teachable cues, guys. It's not manipulated, says Monarch.
You got to play the I mean, here, guys, just play the damn price.
Just play
Don't complicate
it
said that, more than it already is. Yeah. Just don't it's just like kind of like where people are like, oh, I'm a very strong believer of simulation theory, but like, guess what? You say you're living in a simulation. What are you gonna do? Can you change anything? The market's manipulated. Okay, great. What are you gonna do? Right? How do you effectively extract from it? Even if you have crazy ideas about how the market moves and does what it does, you can still effectively extract from it, right? And the question becomes, what are you doing? Anyways, I'm gonna get back to some of the main focuses on the day here. I am watching a stock for its open. Today's IPOs. There's a couple names on IPO today. Lime, the bicycle service.
Yeah. How's that been?
That's coming out today.
Still not there.
$173 million offer amount coming out today, but that's not the one that I'm looking at. I'm watching for this BSP. Let me zoom into this right here.
Bending spoons.
Bending spoons.
Okay.
We'll see if this one will take us to the matrix here today. $1.6 billion to offer. $29 price here. Bending spoons. There we go. We got a nice graphic from Adara there. Do you want to speak on that?
Oh yeah, sure, I can. I was just going to show you guys. But so this is available at XTTV Research. I also have the Lime one available at XTTV Research. I made these very feverishly in like 2 minutes this morning. But so Bending Spoons, interesting here. They've acquired the likes of Evernote, Issue, Vimeo. They basically, what they do is they're kind of a conglomerate that acquire other companies. The CEO's name is Luca Ferrari. To my knowledge, no relation to the much more famous family of the same name. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, I've been watching the tap here just so I can post it out for you guys. Currently between 31 and 32. IPO price range is 26 and 28, so it is poised to open a bit higher here.
Nice, thank you very much. So yeah, big IPO opening today. Don't know if I'm gonna trade it right off the bat. I think borrows were something crazy. Like I think last I checked, like $13 a lot. Kind of crazy. But it is what it is.
Lime is open, OB.
What's that?
Lime here's
Lime's already open. Yeah. I'm talking about BSP. So Lime is at the scooter service or the bicycle service. There, it hasn't really done much today, has it? Like
no. I mean, it's up 8%.
Kind of a sideways chop. 27 opens, I guess, on that one. Yeah, and I think we were looking to open around 25 on Lime, and that one's just liming around as of right now, just chilling. But I'll be waiting for Bending Spoons BSP. Might be a little bit more interesting, might be a little bit more volatility filled for us to take some opportunity on that one on the day here. But yeah, let me know in the chat. What are you guys trading? Yes, Lime opened an hour ago. Thank you, TMAS. We just covered. We just said that going public so they don't go under. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe sometimes it doesn't really matter. You just need to raise some money to take it to the next level, right? And that's what the market is a great vehicle for. The market's a tool for privately held companies to become public and raise some money for further business ventures there, or just to pad your pockets. But I think the intent, more often than not, is to further your operations as a company. But yeah, we'll see how well these do in terms of recent IPOs. Of course, how can we forget about SpaceX, SPCX? And I did mention this one earlier today. This one was the one to short. I'm here sitting trying to fight the Meta short, and Meta's doing anything but sell off, and it was SpaceX that was the one that really sold off pretty aggressively off of the open today. Not really crazy amount of relative volume, but the move definitely there here on SPCX. But we'll see what's going on with SIA. Be right back.
Thank you so much. So we'll start with the ECB, the Top Industry Association of German Banks, as of today, has firmly rejected a potential increase in the ECB in the amount of cash that lenders must keep on reserve in unremunerated accounts. So yesterday I was reporting on this as well, that in context that the ECB is considering doubling the portion of funds lenders must maintain on reserve in the accounts, which is a move that would definitely cut the central bank's own interest bill and mitigate the side effects in the inflation fight. I'm sorry about that. So Reuters has also said that the US dollar's recent rebound might and could potentially fade in the coming months due to the cooling oil prices and the tempering inflation fears with the Fed Reserve cutting rate hikes. And also, this is coming from Reuters again, that Mexico's peso will likely hold steady near the middle of its well-established trading range as well, at least in the first half of 2027. Currently, the dollar is around the 101.3 mark. It's up 0.18% on the day.
All right, thank you very much, Sia. But getting back to this prior IPOs, just to take a look at how they're doing. SpaceX, let's cover this one on the daily, and we can see what this one has been doing since I last saw you guys just a couple of weeks ago. That 150 bid, absolutely solid. Guess what? We bounced. We're currently, as of right now, holding that 150. Sure, we got down to 147s, but holding 150, kind of building into it. So it should be interesting what SpaceX will do when and if we get below this 150 in any sort of distinct manner. We got down to 147s, but insta-rebid on those days that we did do that. A couple days there, June 23rd, and then June 26th here, coming into July, trading decently above, but making lower highs as of right now. We got all the way up to 225s, which was absolutely wild there. 3-day gap here on SPCX. Fourth day comes in with a little bit of selling and some decent, beautiful mean reversion back into that 150. And CBRS, Cerebras. See how our friend Cerebras Systems is doing. We know this one was a pretty hyped IPO, AI related. People talking about how they were the one only contender for NVIDIA chips. There was a lot of hype around this one. And guess what? We do open up at around that 350 mark, but we've been selling off ever since. $160.81, current lows on CBRS. So decent fade there, a lot of hype. And I guess the hype got sold to on Cerebras Systems, as it looks to find some price discovery in and around that 200 mark as of right now on CBRS. What was the one before this one? So SpaceX, most recent one. CBRS, most recent one before that. And I'm thinking of what the more recent one right before that what might have been.
Oh, man.
Nothing too crazy. Nothing that was like great, right?
It's not like are we talking like Fig and Circle potentially?
No. That was a couple of years ago. Feels just
Well,
like
not a couple years ago, man. That was last year.
Circle?
Yeah.
Really?
Early 2025.
Oh, it feels like it was just.
Yeah, see, look.
Oh wow, feels like this was just yesterday. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, June. It's been absolutely. Yeah, it's been a year. What an absolutely crazy run. I'm thinking of maybe a different one. Maybe, am I thinking of CrowdStrike? Maybe. No. Probably no. That's
CrowdStrike is definitely
No, that IPO'd a long time ago. Anyway, yeah,
we've been asking
Circle,
that a lot.
Figma, some of those ones, but that was last year. I'm talking about within the past few months. Has there been anything? BPS is open. Yes, it is. BSP. Thank you very much, Travman in the chat for calling that out here. BSP. Let's pull that up right here. BSP on the NASDAQ and see what's going on.
Right.
It was poised to open up. Tap at 31. So I guess we opened up 31s and we're going straight to 32s as of right now. So some decent strength here. 3.25 million shares traded, trading about $1 above its IPO open price on the day here. Bending Spoons is the ticker. Didn't really look into too much about what they do, but make sure you check out the X page on Trader TV, and I think. All right, Dara's going to drop a link in the chat right now for that graphic there, and it'll tell you a little bit more on BSP and what they're all about. As of right now, price action, nothing too crazy. You had a nice little opening drive, holding about $1 above that. There's the link in the chat. Thank you very much, Dara. There, this is what we're looking at.
I'm out of John. I'm out of
Boom.
I just got out actually, probably around the lows. I'm looking to reload on the NASDAQ.
Okay.
I was shorting the T-QQs, but I was long the T-QQs, but then I got out as it started to break a little bit lower. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'm still positive, but I gave some away. We had the early scalp this morning, but then I'm like, all right, maybe we get a break up through the volume weighted average price at this point. And we're not getting it as we're heading towards the lows. So there's no need for me to mess around with this too much. I'm going to just focus on this. And I want to find an ad here for the latter half of the session, because I believe from the 2 o'clock hour on that we're going to be able to, considering it's not selling with the overall market, that I believe that we're going to be able to maybe even go and test this high of the day. And I want to try to take advantage of that one, because it's definitely been our better trader on the intraday session. So not too bad of a look there as the overall market is selling. Did I get we're going to someone here, or I'm not plugged in? Obi, did you get that?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. No.
All right, so just let me know, obviously. Now, what I want to do here actually is NVDA back up to 197. That's good. It was selling bright and early in the pre-market, which I was like, oh no, man, it's just up and down. And a lot of people in the chat asking, like, what's going on? What needs to get this name moving? One thing that's positive from a technical standpoint is that we're kind of holding up around those lows. I said it was almost inevitable that this shelf was going to break, right? So it just sells down, and then you do happen to bounce off of this resistance zone, which was a lengthy consolidation where you did consolidate for the span of 8 months before you broke out a little. Now, I want to see us sit on the backside for any form. And I think at that point, it may not be as clean, but you will get a stair-step pattern back towards this 235 marker and hopefully break through that all-time high in this specific name, all right? So I think the worry was that, okay, if there's if there's too much compute right now, obviously with Meta not having to use all of theirs and start renting it out, but I don't think that's the case, because I like the way Sharif put it. You're really starting to see leaders in it, even though if we haven't already. You have the Anthropics, you have the ChatGPTs and the Geminis of the world who are really driving this train right now. And are at the front of the bus pretty much, and you have the Groks and whatever Mark Zuckerberg and company have going on isn't doing the best, and I think that's been established for sure. So let's see, $197, $200 is acting as pretty tough resistance. Let's just hope we don't break down and start to cover some of this, because it could totally happen. And if you head back into the middle of the range, I think at that point, it's almost safe to say that we're going to head down into maybe even the 160s, which would be disastrous. I mean, it wouldn't be disastrous, but it's not good for any form of your account, in my opinion. All right. There was nothing crazy. I went over the past 20 IPOs. Maybe I'll have to do a little bit more than that, but you're talking about Bending Spoons there. ITG Lime was involved with it.
You got that document that Jose made?
Quantinium, maybe. Were you thinking about Quantinium?
QNT, yeah.
QNT,
That
Quantinuum,
one was good.
Applied Aerospace Defense. There's a whole list of them here that happened. I mean, IPO season, Seaport Therapeutics.
No, there's that document. I know you were showing it on the show there that Jose made.
Yeah.
That one has a lot, like all the
bigger ones. Yeah. I have that.
But again, I was talking to him about it as well, and I'm like, I understand kind of back testing and looking at some of these prior IPOs, and it's always good. I'm not gonna say that it isn't, but I think when it comes to SpaceX, you couldn't really compare any of those, and even CBRS.
Heck no.
You couldn't really compare a lot of those. Maybe a little bit of Circle, just based off of where the market was and the hype around the sector of what the IPO company was based around. Maybe you get a little bit of that, but SpaceX and both Cerebras were, I think, distinctly different, even though certain strategies still worked on them specifically. But I think nuances were definitely different. I think SpaceX, we've almost never had anything like a SpaceX IPO. Well, at least I haven't seen any IPO like that in my limited time trading over the past few years. But I think SpaceX was a whole different beast when it comes to kind of how it's structured, different kind of participation. But the past couple of years did give us a good precedent on what overhyped IPOs may behave like, and that was a good piece of information to extract from some of the more recent ones that gave us that gave us that opening range drive, the opening range breaks, anything like that. CBRS is fascinating as it doesn't require as much memory. Yeah, the idea and their product of CBRS is absolutely solid. Hopefully they can produce some decent results that actually go on to compete with NVIDIA, but I don't think NVIDIA has a competitor that is anywhere close to what they do and what they're capable of doing. So.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, there was some disruption. Hopefully the street finds it out. I know Sharif often talking about the custom ASICs game, right? So you'll have the TPUs and the training and processing units from Amazon, but it's only a select few who can construct it. I know Meta's been building on their own custom chip, haven't had too much success with it. It's just that they've been in the game for so long, which gives them a little bit of an advantage, but it's the hyperscalers. And I mean, if you think about it, it's where the majority of NVDA's revenue is coming from, but they're starting to build their own application-specific chips, which is really important. So
remember the turbulence that was caused by DeepSeek for like a day?
Yeah,
everyone thought it was going to be the end of NVIDIA.
Yeah, just because
people
of the
actually
cost.
Sold their NVIDIA shares.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Well, look at where it's at now. I mean, it's I don't think there was anyone close to them, or there currently is as of right now. And I think if someone were to show up and start to merge, we'd definitely see some sort of signs there as an effective competitor to NVIDIA. I don't think there's really
I think that's
anything
pretty
happening.
close.
Obi, are you going to trade BSP saying VWAP Viking? Probably not. Right. I mean, maybe it does something later, but as of right now, I'm just looking at this thing and I'm just like, yeah, no, this is not something that's worth really, dabbling in as of right now. Now, maybe things could get better. Say we get back into 31. That could be interesting because, again, we talk about what is the story that's been built on this chart. IPOs are absolutely beautiful because they haven't had that much time to trade. All of these are fresh prices. All of this is fresh price discovery, and a lot of it is straight up going to be a decent amount of PvP amongst different participants, and the kind of participation that you may see here could be distinct as well. So 33 wick highs. I don't know if that's a real wick up into 33s. That might be a little dark pool, but we got a high of around 33s and a low of what is this right here, 3070s. So I want to see if we can get back below this 31, if we can trade below some of this VWAP right here that's sitting in and around 3160s, 3170s, then maybe we may have a trade on our hands. But other than that, just watching and waiting. And I think Mike DeRuyter in the chat earlier was talking about, Ovi's been hiding and coding and doing algos and trading, and I trade so many different sessions now. And if you guys know what sessions I've already been trading, it's just, you dabble with obviously NCSA, where you have New York and NASDAQ markets, but trading a little bit or watching the market in the pre-market session, as well as some of the small caps get hot. Watching some of the after hours action as we go into the blue ocean trading session as well. And what are some of the other trading sessions that exist in the nighttime other than blue ocean? We got Tokyo, we got Australia as well, which I kind of have eyes on. We have Euro in the middle of the day around 11:30. I know you guys have been tuning in for this session with Juan and Adara there for the Euro recap. So there's a lot of different markets that we have access to here at Real Trading or Trader TV. And we trade multiple different sessions. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case that, I sit here for the midday show and a trade shows up. Trades can show up all throughout the day now, where I'm just like, okay, we talk about preserving mental capital.
Yeah.
Right? There are times where, I'll do absolutely solid in the nighttime session.
Yeah.
And because I've put all my focus and all my mental capital into trading the nighttime session effectively, maybe I'm not on that much, not on good sleep. So coming into the morning, I'm just like, all right, well, am I making the best decisions? That's kind of some of the stuff that I've been dealing with as of recent, where I'm just like, some nights I just stay, I'm staying up till 2 or 3, sometimes even 4, trading until the close of the blue ocean session into 4 a.m. And I got to ask myself, am I waking up at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. or even, let's say, 9:30 just to roll out of bed to trade the open session? Absolutely not. It's not going to go well.
It's not going to go well.
It's not going to go well. Sure, you might make money some days, or you might make some good decisions here and there. But overall, am I really performing at 100%? And that's absolutely no. Right? That's the answer to that question. So sometimes you got to kind of cool it off. So hybrid kind of thing I've been finding right now is maybe let the algo focus a little bit more in the open session, trade my nighttime session, get some rest, and then wake up, maybe in time for to see what the European session is closing into, and then look into middle or late day playbook setups for me. I think that's more of what I've been leaning towards. But
I think that's
I still wake up and trade the open at 9:30 every now and then.
That's a pretty good game plan. Let's send things over to Adara.
Keep an eye here on the market. Nothing massive here in terms of moves, but we're hearing a little bit more here about the USMCA, the US-Canada-Mexico agreement when it comes to trade here. USTR, U.S. Trade Representative Greer, said earlier today that the USMCA was shifting to a rolling talk with no renewals. They are confirming now the U.S. did not agree to renew the USMCA in its current form. Furthermore, some other comments coming here from the admin saying that Trump trade policies have already superseded many elements of the agreement. So again, no renewal here of the USMCA, pretty much as expected. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's never good. Oh well. Yeah, do you live to trade or do you trade to live?
Yeah, I mentioned that in the chat. I mean,
we
all have our different passions. I think sometimes I do a little bit of both. I think sometimes I'm more leaning towards living to trade than trading to live, but it is what it is.
All right, yeah, man, to each their own, man. Yeah, you gotta find what you, breathe. I am breathing there, my friend. Yeah, maybe there's a balance in between everything. I think that's really important. Course, live to live, says Mike Peter Ryder. All right, see how everyone feels about that.
I like that.
But guys, what we do have, I'm glad that we hopped out of that NASDAQ long just to step back into these markets. Apple's starting to come back in. And Meta's actually starting to break a level that I wanted to. So we're forming that shelf. I do believe at this pace, considering we're not breaking down as aggressively, 610, if we break down to that, then I'm going to add, and I just have that hunch that we're going to be an all-day trender on this bad boy. Even though we're up 10%, I believe we can grind back towards those highs. From a daily, this is a big-time breakout. You don't want to see too much selling pressure step into this candle, right? Like, I think that's something really that you need to take into factor. factor? Are the bigger trend lines starting to be broken? I'm also asking myself that question, but too much selling pressure is no good. You don't want it to close flat. You see we almost ran into some other key resistance zone around 644. I just got the feeling, and I could obviously be completely wrong, that we can take another leg higher here. The catalyst is pretty strong in my opinion. So that's that with META heading towards some, there it is, bounce off of VWAP. Any indecision? I know Gorev's off watching the England game here. Now, Los Pollos, I don't know if you're in the chat. Are you guys looking at potential longs here off of the volume weighted average price here on Meta? Because that's going to be my ad. I don't have any size. Like I'm talking about 7% maybe of the initial position off of these lows, where I started really slow. It was going to pull back a little bit and then off to the races, and we were fortunate enough to participate in this nice rally before we took any off. Was the break of the high of the day. And to be honest with you, Obi, I'm not even going to be honest, what I had in the back of my mind is you always constantly saying, is there a reason to sell? And with my thesis being, it's either going to be strong or we're going to break down and give back the majority of the move. I just happened to be on the right side of things, going with the long side. And once we did start to trek towards this previous pivot high, my like we were halfway through and I'm like, okay, we're starting to pick up in a little bit of volume. The momentum and the strength within the price action is getting a little bit stronger. The tape is confirming what I'm thinking. So there was no reason for me to take any off until we breached through this previous pivot high. And I was fortunate enough to get a strong engulfing candle before I took any size. And at that point, we took 20% off right there. And then we let the rest ride. And we're now holding on to about 7% of this total position with an opportunity that is starting to display itself, a good opportunity. I want to keep my eyes on this one here, ladies and gentlemen, for us to add right at VWAP. I need to pay attention to the details on the lower time frame. We're not quite getting there, and I don't want to jump the gun too early, but there's also a couple other scenarios that can happen. All right, so what I'm thinking is that you have a break of the support level that's being established a little bit lower, you absorb a little bit more liquidity, and then hopefully you can go for that second leg. But the SPY coming back in, obviously on that US-Mexico agreement, things not looking too optimistic there, and the NASDAQ heading towards a new, I shouldn't say low of the day, but we do have those higher lows breached, and you're on the backside of this trend. And if the memory names remain weak, Obi, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more downside in the NASDAQ, and that's why I'm going to stick to names that are strong. Up 10% here today, META.
Yeah, no, I think something to watch out for. We have been taking some decent pullbacks here over the past couple of days. And when I'm watching some of this stuff on higher time frames, you know what? We can go to the NQ. We'll go to, let's say, a weekly, because we are talking about where we might be in the coming weeks here. I'm seeing a lot of sideways chop here, 30K chop, right? So in and around this 30K right here. See, we got a headline coming in, Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister communication channel to be established to report and discuss breaches of Iran-US MOU IRNA. Okay, cool. Market not really reacting too crazily off of that. NASDAQ still kind of sideways chop here with ES, bit of a pullback at the same time. But back to the weekly on the NASDAQ. Right here, I remember this right here, March of this year, bit of a pullback and strong bid back through into and through all-time highs just a couple of months ago, and now we're kind of consolidating, chop. Now I know I've shown you guys this stock or these charts before on my higher time frame when I'm like, okay, well guys, zoom out. We got to zoom out here. We'll take a look at SoFi break high a day in just a second, Mopar, but zooming out to say like a 3-month chart or say like a 12-month chart can really give you a perspective of where we might be headed, bigger picture. Now this grab right here, this little lick grab on the SPY was absolutely crazy. And when this candle was closing, I was thinking about this. And you got to remember, this is a 3-month chart. This was all the way back in 2025, right? And we start to break out of this high, and I was like, oh boy, we're poised for a little bit more here. If we're going to squeeze out that 600 high on the SPY, guess what? Just a few quarters later, we're all the way back up at 750s. So we'll wait and see what this market has in store for us. We'll be right back from Adara.
Keep an eye here in USO. More oil stories in focus here. IRNA, so Iranian state media, reporting that Iran's deputy foreign minister says their talks in Qatar have ended. Furthermore, this minister saying that there's going to be a communications channel established to report and discuss the breaches of the U.S. and Iran MOU. We've heard about this communications channel in the past. Let's see if it gets implemented here. Back to you.
All right, thank you.
What's
very
USO
much.
up to?
So
I know you
SoFi-
love trading USO, but I know you liked it when it was on that little bit of a run. How are you feeling about USO?
I mean, the difference between trading USO a couple weeks ago to a few months ago versus now is that it was in play.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly.
I don't think it's as in play
I'm
anymore.
glad about that.
If you're looking at it for the backside move, it definitely very much is in play for that. But in terms of the long and the breakout off of this 85 level that we saw come into fruition, coming into February, March of this year, yeah, that's not really there anymore. Back through 125s. But yeah, if you're talking about in play for the long, I think that time has come and gone. But the backside is looking quite beautiful. Excuse me here. Was that S dot?
S dot, yeah.
S dot. Somebody was, excuse me, getting some hiccups. Somebody was asking in the chat if I can take a look at this. Is it time for reversion? Hey, guess what? Something like this, I don't know if I really want to revert it unless and until it gives me a blow off top. Like this thing has already done crazy percentages, a crazy percent of a move right off of the open. What are we looking at? About 134, 100% on S dot on the day right now, all the way from $40 to a high of 89. Yeah, no, I don't know if I really want to get involved just yet. In terms of a reversion or a short, you can see it's just stair-stepping up, maybe trapping intraday shorts. What's the float on this thing? I have no idea. Wow, under $1 million float, 740,000 share float on this one. Yeah, no, not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole, especially on day one of the move on S dot. Maybe
day one, brother. Go to the daily.
What's this been doing?
Oh man,
is this not day one?
Go to the
Day one of a big move. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see you now.
Dude, this
thing has been squeezing. I guess it's been squeezing for the past couple of days. Maybe some liquidity trap action happening here from
What's
June.
up, Imra?
Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll continue to watch this one here. So yeah, my bad. Not day one, but a strong day on a squeeze action thing happening here. 55s, I guess, was the area to get long on S dot. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Not really on my radar for reversion, though, Adara.
Keep an eye here on USO. This is actually pretty interesting here, guys. So be aware here, IRNA, again, Iranian state media, reporting more comments coming from the Deputy Foreign Minister of Iran, saying that during the Qatar meeting with Iran and Qatar, they decided that part of the $6 billion in frozen funds could be used to purchase goods based on Iran's needs. Now, this directly defies what the U.S. is saying the terms of this MOU are. So that is significant. Expect probably a response here from President Trump. Now, speaking of Mr. President Trump, who we know early today posted about Micron, he's going to be appearing in North Dakota right now. So be aware, guys, ND in focus. He is speaking at 1:10 p.m., 1:45 p.m., and 3:15 p.m. Good thing that I'm here to cover all of that for you guys. So please don't go anywhere. Back to you.
Good stuff. Obi, there was a question for you. Kind of answered it. I don't know why, but anyways, I felt like I was. So Obi, it says just some dude NC North Carolina maybe. Obi, you using IBKR for overnight trading? My understanding is that it's the best broker for that. Thinking of trying it since I'm already using them for day trading.
Yeah, I mean, I think Interactive Brokers, they're pretty solid. They're great. They give great market access. I know you use them, but in terms of trading the Blue Ocean overnight session, no, I'm using PPRO. I'm using our prop firms. I'm going through the prop firm to trade.
Yes, there
that.
is Hangry.
Yeah, just through our P8 system here, trading Blue Ocean through there.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Katina, man?
It's been, I think it's definitely worth looking at. Meta's still in and around highs.
618.
Yeah, so it did the first strong pullback, but still holding highs. Yeah.
Angry wife. No, trust me. I was trading Blue Ocean with Obi on multiple occasions. I cooled down in my personal, and then also with Jose. But you can get you get the overnight charting. You get everything.
Yeah, you haven't touched it in a minute though, bro.
I haven't touched it in a minute. Dude, I told you, I took so I've just been like long-term investing in my swing account, to be honest with you. I got rinsed a couple of times, dude, over the past couple of months since October. So for me, it's just like, it's just pure damage control, and I've just been holding on to names opposed to more trading. I don't disagray with you because I had some good opportunities in Ocean.
It's been
I haven't been on
great.
it in a while.
I
keep an eye on it though. I keep an eye.
For sure have to keep an eye on it. The overnight session is absolutely solid. They're starting to get more volume as well. Some of the illiquidity is, it's a perk, not a bug. Isn't that what they say? Some of the illiquidity is absolutely beautiful, except for when you're on the wrong side of the moves, right? So these things can just rip a few dollars for you or against you. Getting out when it's against you can be a little bit finicky. But again, being at a prop firm, it can be much easier to get out if you have the right kind of market access for those things. I remember just a few nights ago, all of the gates except for one gate was down. I don't know if that was across multiple different things, but or multiple different brokers. But for us, I think it was most of the main gates were down, and then one of the traders, they found a gate because it was offered by our firm. They were like, this gate is working. You can still get in and out of your positions on this gate. So again, shout out to Real Trading for giving us market access.
Before we have Luis over, I want to show this to our friends. So this is where you would select, right? You go to overnight, and then that's where you're going to find those blue ocean. You have to head over into the gateway. Right, so it's your order type, and then what you want to do is you want to translate that over into your chart to make sure that you can trade it overnight. Okay, so Hangry Rife right there, right in your order, that's where you want to head over. And then if you're looking for transactions, the older charts are more compatible, not so much this one. All right, so I've been trading after just getting absolutely wrench job over a couple of contracts and everything. Yeah, that's just order submission. I know how to trade that, but the charts do not show an IBCAR only. No, I'm telling you. So when you do that and you have them linked, Hangry Wife, I literally do it. When you have them linked, it shows the overnight price action. I've made very little money this year compared to the past. Grateful for my long-term account and definitely feel the pain this year. It works for me. Yeah. I mean, but Hangry, I totally agree, man. Like, listen, long-term, it's definitely been my thing. Full disclosure, guys, in 2025, I doubled my account, but I was paying myself along the way and then proceeded to YOLO some IBIT calls and Netflix, and it just wiped out because I kept mine at a threshold, and it wiped out. I took 70% loss in my long-term account. I mean, in my personal just play account, 70%. So now I'm just working on building that up. So people lose, man. Go from doubling, paying yourself, life's good, to losing 70% of it because you have risk management issues. But Hangry Wave, I'm telling you, the chart will roll over so that you can actually see the overnight price action. That I promise. All right, you know what time it is. Oh, there he is. No Sharif, Luis.
Yeah.
One of our favorite.
How's it going?
Let's go Spain. Lot going on here. We're going to get into the weather. You can tell us about that later. Sharif is off to Dallas, though. I don't know if you knew this. He's going to go watch Egypt play, and then he's going to go fly or drive to Houston, Texas, that is, and watch the great country of Canada, which it is Canada Day today in the FIFA World Cup round of 16. A lot going on. We're going to start things off. I'm sure you have something. My question to you right now, S dot. What is going on with S dot?
Yeah, I don't know. We won't trade that one because, first of all, because it's very, very expensive to locate. And even if it gives a nice entrance with a tight stop, it's very expensive to locate. So we won't short this front side for sure, and no longs because it can go halted and you can be destroyed. So it's a ticker to avoid, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, Luis, I love trading these small caps. I'd like to use them for a momentum style. I know you're looking for the backside of things. But hey, we've had this conversation before. How come there was no real follow through with the PDT? I feel like it was just a wave where we just had stocks going 1,000% here, 1,000% there. And you actually made the point stating, man, the SEC is going to actually have to look into this because multiple 1,000-point gainers seemed like they were happening for a week straight, but now that's completely fell off a cliff. Do you think something along those lines, like you mentioned, the SEC starting to maybe do an investigation into these parabolic moves within the small cappers?
Well, what we knew is that once the PDT rule was removed, we would have some crazy days. It could have been a week or two. It was just a few days, but the first reaction, it was pretty clear. And it was clear that it was not gonna last forever because of the hype, it will disappear, or because the ECC could take measures to avoid this kind of movement. So I don't know what happened, if it was the ECC or just the hype. You know, it was not that important, the PDT rule, you know, because they changed. For example, now the brokers, some rules to short, to get overnight the short. So even if there is no PDT rule, they are asking for a lot of deposit to short some tickers overnight. So, you know, it was not that important, it seems. So, you know, it seems it's over, this kind of craziness.
Yeah, things definitely cooled down. So tell us, what do you have on your watch list? We don't have those crazy gainers. So I feel like this is an environment where you would really thrive in. I mean, you'll thrive in anyone, but I just feel like, considering we're not getting those parabolic moves and things are starting to cool down, I think those could be a good opportunity to short some small cap names. What has been on your radar for the past couple of days?
Yeah, actually the last couple of weeks has been very, very easy or quiet for short sellers because everything is pump and dump during the day or sometimes even pre-market. Today we had a couple of movements. First of all, we trade GEM. I'm sharing the screen here. Yeah, there you go. And we have talked about this pre-market, shorting this against this resistance. And once the uptrend was broken and the VWAP was losing the VWAP, we had this very, very nice tank movement from $9 to $5 almost. That was a very nice short, shorting here in this first pop, shorting again here, and holding a little bit on the way down. And then I have to say, I took a loss here. I was waiting this to bounce against the VWAP and short it again. It made just a quick stop before it went to the highs again. So I took a short here. I took a loss, not very nice loss on this one. And then I'm shorting it again here all the way down. I'm shorting again here, 940s, 950s with a very tight stop below the $10. So if you lose again VWAP, $9 and VWAP on 850s, it can go again to $6 or $5. So it was a nice short here, suffered a loss on this movement, and we are shorting against this $950, $10. That was the first one. The second one, and it was much easier, was LHAI. Look at that, it was very nice. Wow. We were talking pre-market of these levels, 135, 140 as a first resistance. We tried the shorts there, had to stop out. We talk about 150, 160 for the nice shorts. We tried again, stop out. And after this double top here and the opening bell, look, this usually happens a lot. Opening bell is trading below the pre-market highs. We have this candle to push all the shorts out of the trade, and then it goes down, lose VWAP. So there was a very nice trade, very easy. We are still adding on the pops here. Look, I'm gonna show you my execution charts here. So you see, we took a short here, stop out, took another short, stop out, and now we are holding this short, adding on the pops. As you can see, slowly going out below the VWAP, shorting again in the pops, and still holding like right now is like 50% of the position on this one. So that was a nice trade.
Yeah, very nice trading shares there. And I was looking at this name actually this morning, Luis. Now we've just been trending along the volume-weighted average price, as you mentioned, and consistent lower highs. So if the floor does break out, then you can see that move and the majority of it given back. Now, I'm going to look on the opposite side of things and say, hey, what happens if we have another wave of individuals step in? Do you think we can take that additional leg higher and then potentially break through the high of the day?
I don't see it very likely right now because of the volume. Look, when you trade or trade these longs around the VWAP, it's because they are holding price and they are holding a little bit of the volume. Right now, we have no volume at all. So it's very unlikely that it happens. On the other side, if you go long here, your stop should be like in 140, 135. So it's 15, 20 cents out of the price, your stop loss. And if you are right, you have to hold, let's say, at least 20 cents. It has to break these highs to at least make 1-to-1 risk reward. So not that good risk reward, not that good winning ratio probability. So it's not a long for me right now. If it goes like 170, volume spike up again, and it holds there, then it's nicer because with the volume and breaking these highs, you can go long. But right now, it's just hold the short, and if it breaks 140, 135, hold until the end of the day.
All right, thank you very much, Luis. There, one more stock here that was on my radar for small caps was TC, Token Cat Limited. Did you get involved with this one at all in the pre-market? Because I'm just looking at it in the pre-market and seeing that once it couldn't really get past that 850, the backside came in pretty distinctly. Were you involved with this one? Do you have any opinions on this one?
Well, it was a very clear short, as you can say. We had two very clear shorts. First one, this 850 fail, and you could short here in this consolidation with a very tight stop and a lot of movement on the downside. The problem here, it was we didn't have locates. Locates were pretty expensive. I mean, we could have made it because, the movement is $2-3, but when you are there and we need to pay 40 cents per share, so it's a little bit too high, right? So we couldn't take the shorts. I only trade once here long there above the VWAP, as you can see here. Hold on, I'm going to put 1 minute here. There you see, I tried it, hold on, here. The long here against the VWAP, it broke VWAP, I took a loss, and that's it. And the easiest trade on this one, I think Joey should know already this setup because we talk about this setup a lot, is the VWAP rejection. So the stock is already destroyed below the VWAP and without volume. You are just waiting for a pop to VWAP. Look at that. That's a very, very, very nice trade. And it worked perfectly from 620s, 630s directly to 450s. And that's what I tried in GEM, but it didn't work. So it doesn't work always, but when it works, you have a very nice reward. You go short here, very tight stock, and all the way down. So that's what happened in TC. Well, VWAP here is a little bit different because we had so much volume between 4 to 6 that the VWAP is different between the P-Pro and the Trading View. I think you guys know this. But in P-Pro, the VWAP rejection was just amazing. So I like this VWAP more than the real one, actually.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's funny that you mentioned that. So many times, the P-Pro VWAP, I'll prefer that so much more than the actual, like a trading view or a different platform. And sometimes it's so beautiful how cleanly the price will just come and then it just rejects or just pivots off of some of those VWAPs. No, thank you.
Yeah, because listen, there are many traders and big traders with a lot of followers looking for this specific setup. It's a very well-known setup. So once it starts to get to the VWAP, a lot of people start to search. So sometimes we advance this VWAP in order to get in because we know if it goes to the VWAP, there will be a lot of shorts going in. And that's also risky because look at what happened in GEM. It goes to VWAP, a lot of people is short, they are wrong, they have to cut the loss, and it goes like $2 right away up. So, because it is a very well-known setup, a lot of people tried, so it might work.
Nice. Yeah, fantastic stuff. All right, Luis, I know Sharif's not here. We can't get into too heavy football talk, but I want to make sure you know who's coming to the city of Toronto tomorrow, right?
No, not really.
It is Sir Cristiano Ronaldo himself with a massive match here. Hey, listen, we're finally getting some Barcelona-type weather as well, 30-plus degrees here, so things are looking great. You guys are facing Austria and are favorites, heavy favorites at that. So let's go Spain, Portugal, Croatia tomorrow, and then I believe on the weekend we're going to get Canada and Morocco. So a lot of great football talk. What do you think about your chances? France looks pretty good right now, Luis.
Yeah, France is pretty good. I mean, they have like forward, they are very, very strong, and they have a couple of very good defenders. So probably it's one of the favorites together with Argentina if Messi keeps being the GOAT of the world in soccer. So Argentina, France, and Spain, we're not playing very good, but it's all about after the quarterfinals when you see the real level of the teams. Right now, look, Germany is out, England is quite near to be out because they are losing against Congo right now. So we'll see. It might be full of surprises, this World Cup for
That's the beauty of the tournament. So fantastic stuff as always. Luis, thank you very much for joining us. Looking forward to more conversations. Next Wednesday, Sharif will be back from his trip in Dallas. A lot of fun going on there.
What a trip, by the way. What a trip. I'm jealous, man.
What a guy, eh? Lucky guy, eh? How come he didn't take you and I? It could have been a boys trip.
You answered the question they asked you on the chat. You live to trade or you trade to live? Well, Sharif, trade to live for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic stuff, brother. Looking forward to having some more conversations with you. Thank you very much, Luis.
Thank you very much, guys.
See you, brother.
See you.
Ciao. All right, guys. Fantastic stuff as always. Make sure you join us every Wednesday morning. He's with Adara and Sharif in the morning. They talk some small caps, what was on their radar from the night before. And then during the midday, 1 o'clock sharp, you see Luis join Sharif and I. This week, it's Obi and I. Before we get into the new segment there, Obi, what we are going to do,
segment?
Yeah, you don't...
there's a new segment?
News.
Oh, news.
Yeah.
Okay,
the news segment. I would have informed you.
No, there's a new segment. I was like,
yeah. Other than that, guys, I posted up at the lower end of the range here for Facebook or via FBL in Meta. But what we did is re-engage. You can see I'll send you the link for that there, Obi, via on Discord there. I don't know if you're logged into your Discord or anything along those lines.
How is BPS at $37? Oh my God.
Oh, bro. Yeah. Oh, bro. Wow. This is the one. Katina, man, we didn't
Come
take
on.
this one.
There was a $1.6 billion IPO.
How much better this is.
Yeah. $31.
TQs, we're going to go over to Adara momentarily. First
38.
things first, we're going to talk a little bit about these TQQs trade. Much better entry. Let's see if we can get this this movement in Facebook going for us, or Meta, I should say. Don't know why I keep calling it that. Let's send it over to Adara. We're going to hop into the news segment momentarily.
Keep an eye on Reddit here, guys. I put this headline up while Luis is talking. It's purely speculation as far as I can tell, but I guess there is some speculation circulating that Reddit has secured a new data licensing deal with Anthropic. If so, obviously good luck for the company. RDDT, again, purely speculation for now, but still on intraday highs amid this potential new data licensing deal with Anthropic.
All right, good stuff.
Wow.
Sorry, I got to send a message. All right, let's send it off to Sia. Let's fire this up.
Let's definitely start the news segment. Thank you so much for Luis over there. That was a great talk. Let's dive into our first story. We're talking about Nike. So it's, as we do know, it posted its quarterly earnings and revenue that has definitely topped Wall Street expectations yesterday after the bell. But even though the sales have declined in its China market. So here's what Nike has reported for its fiscal fourth quarter compared to analyst expectations. Earnings per share, 20 cents adjusted versus 13 cents expected. Revenue at $10.97 billion versus $10.86 billion that was expected. So during the quarter, the company has been, the company said that its gross margin has increased 8.9% during the quarter. This has largely been due to an expected tariff refund of nearly $986 million after the Supreme Court had struck down many of U.S. President Donald Trump's global duties. So the tariff refunds have contributed 52 cents to Nike's earnings per share for the quarter. Analysts have also excluded that gain, however, from their adjusted earnings expectations. And Nike has posted net income of $1.07 billion or 72 cents per share. That is compared with the $211 million or 14 cents per share a year earlier. So revenue has climbed to 10.97, which is down 7% from 11.10 billion in the prior year period. And Nike's revenue in North America, which is its largest market, has climbed 3% to $4.83 billion. So it has fallen short of analysts' expectations of $4.88 billion. Just a quick fact over there. And sales in Nike's Greater China market have dropped 12% to $1.30 billion. Even so, the company has beat Wall Street's expectations of $1.24 billion in revenue. Adara, give us your take on Nike.
Yeah, I think it is worth noting here, and this kind of surprised me as well, is that we actually did have year-over-year growth in the fiscal year revenue, which is like, okay, I mean, go you, I guess, Nike. And again, this is for fiscal 2026. This was Q4. I'm going to have more visuals coming on Nike over the last couple days. I've just been very busy with some other infographic series, which I'll tease out a little bit later. But with NKE here, yeah, I mean, as you can see here, 2026, barely just a little bit of revenue growth. It grew by $100 million only this year versus last year. So yeah, I mean, I think if you look over the last 30 years, we go from having this steady uptrend, and then starting in 2023, you start to see this peter out. Now, I think a lot of people were thinking, and I know people have said this in the chat before as well, Elliott Hill was seen as probably the better successor for Mark Parker, who was by far the best CEO for Nike stock, all the way back when this was announced in 2019, took effect into 2020. But yeah, John Donahoe takes over and said, if you look like John Donahoe, as much as hate as he's gotten for his tenure, not bad sales growth, to be frank. Okay, like I will admit it dropped off a bit in 2024, whatever, but then you bring in Elliott Hill and what, we stagnate? Is that somehow better? I don't know. I'm not saying John Donahoe was better. I'm saying I think Elliott Hill was a little bit overhyped. They plucked this man out of retirement, a man that pretty much worked with Nike his entire career, which is not a bad thing per se. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying that he didn't really have any C-suite experience. He was a Nike executive who retired and then came back. And Elliott Hill, if you're watching, I apologize. I'm not trying to go after you here. I'm just saying I think the context here is really important. And again, I don't want to compare apples and oranges, but I think if you look back at the other CEO announcements have made around the same time. So we're talking what happened here with Brian Nickel getting plucked from CMG, just to shrug over, if you know, you know, on his way over to Starbucks. And then you also had Kelly Ortberg coming over from Boeing. Now, neither of these men were inside hires. Maybe Elliott Hill being an inside hire, maybe that makes you a little bit more complacent. I don't know, but I want results from this man. I have not gotten any. And again, I don't love Brian Nickel, and I've said this, but at least he's trying to make changes at Starbucks. Kelly Ortberg, I think, has done an excellent job of, using Dawn to scrub away all of the blemishes on Boeing's past. If you know, you know. And I don't know. I expect a little bit more from Elliott Hill. I do apologize for the rant here, guys, but I think it's pretty significant. This Nike infographic coming out later today. There will hopefully be some others soon as well. I think just a lot to unpack here with NKE, and I hope this rant provided you guys with maybe a little bit of context on where I think maybe Nike's gone wrong. But I will give them, just $100 million worth of credit here for that slight year-over-year revenue growth for fiscal 26.
Listen, revenue growth is better than decline. They also received a rebate, right? So a tariff refund of $986 million. Now, if your third largest revenue stream isn't performing that well, and who am I referring to? China. China's weakness. Now, you're going to have, obviously, an increase in inventories, which will cause you a lot of issues. Why? Because that can really hinder your margins just due to the fact to offload inventory, you need to give discounts. And when you give discounts on your product, it chews into your profit margins, okay? So that's something that I like. And guys, you know where I stand within this retail space. All right, I have this athleisure wear, the total addressable market. There's so much competition within it, which really makes it difficult, regardless if you have that consistent revenue stream. If you're the best or the most popular brand on the planet, in which I've stated on multiple occasions, and the performance of your stock looks like this, I don't care who you put at the helm. It's really not good. Can things turn around? Will the turnaround take significantly longer than what we're expecting? Absolutely. Adara, this is going to be no Lip Bhutan turnaround, in my opinion. No. Things are going to, this is going to take significantly longer than what we're expecting.
And probably a new CEO.
Exactly.
Because I'm sorry, Lip is another great example.
It's true, though. It's true. Especially when you're kind of caught in the middle of what your identity is, like you go towards the brick to direct to consumer instead of going from business to business, which really hindered this company. All right, brick and mortar is expensive. All right, so I mean, what happened there is, I think, in my opinion, where this stock really started to curl over, and I just believe, even though it's a high quality product, it's just stuck in the middle between, are we that luxury athleisure brand, or are we the individual, the average individual luxury brand? And for me personally, $300 for a pair of sweatpants and hoodies is just a little bit too expensive.
Yep.
Obi.
Yeah, I think Nike's been on a pretty decent run here going into 2021, and I always like to look at a higher time frame chart because when it comes to Nike, it's one of my textbook examples for what a reversion looks like on a higher time frame, and what something really kind of looks like when it starts to fall apart off of a multi-year crazy, absolutely wild run here. Again, that little blip down was that was a little COVID blip right there from March 2020. But you can see here, yeah, they've kind of lost footing, for a lack of a better word here, on their stock price. And as it trades lower and lower, we can see that we're starting to contest some levels. We've already gapped below COVID levels, right? And that happened not too long ago. That was just a few months ago right here. But coming in with increasing volume back into prices we have not seen since 2018. So I am watching this one closely. Is it something I'm looking to pick up on? Absolutely not. I think honestly, like the short trade on this one, the swing, the selling the calls, the buying the puts, the shorting the shares, that's the trade that's been happening on this one, and it's been happening really, really well on Nike. So that's my opinion on Nike.
Yeah, man, I think that's a complete fair assessment. It's just something that I'm not.
The hype is not there anymore.
It's not there, man. It's not there.
The build quality is there in terms of the thing, and you still have brand recognition, and you still have that base of people who still only buy Nike.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Which is good, but it's just like you as opposed to, I find that athletes themselves have a lot more Nike wear than just regular people who are not athletes full time. But that wasn't really the case during COVID. Because again, COVID, people were
at home.
Working from home, going to gyms a lot more, maybe working out more as well. I have no idea, but regardless, it's lost its footing in more than one way.
It's just there's too much competition in the space. There's like so many different brands, right, that just gain popularity. And what happens when you hold the majority of the market share in one specific sector is that we talk about it with other names as well too. There's only really one way you can go. And unfortunately, that's down, right? Like you have the Aloes, you have the Lululemons start to step in, even though that hasn't been performing well. You have the Ons, you have the Gymshark step in.
Yep.
And there's some other ones that Sia mentions that I don't even remember, but that just speaks to the volume of how much competition. Alo, what else? Gymshark. There's a lot of competition out there and cheaper alternatives as well.
Jackie's in the chat saying, calling both of us out, saying, I know a lot of people in Europe that boycott any U.S. products.
That's fair.
Maybe that.
I don't think that's a call out.
That's partially the reason why.
But Europe is their second largest market.
Yeah, I mean, since 2022, we've seen the decline. What's up, Sia?
Yeah, I just feel like Nike itself, to me, it's still a good brand. Yes, it has great shoes, it has great apparel. They've also started their streetwear lines that they introduced, like really cool stuff. But it also depends on the price per article. Like honestly, you're paying so much more than you used to when there's, like you said, there's better competition out there. There's better quality. Nike is just like it'll always be a household name because Nike, Adidas, Puma, always going to be household names. But can't deny that there's definitely better options out there now, much cheaper, much more durable, and much more better.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk some SpaceX, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to SpaceX. So Wedbush has initiated coverage on SpaceX with a buy rating and $190 price target, so valuing the company roughly at around $2.5 trillion. Analyst Dan Ives has argued that SpaceX is uniquely positioned across three major growth engines, that's Starlink, launch services, and the AI infrastructure through Colossus data centers. So as part of this thesis, is Starship, which is a key part, which technically believes, management which technically believes that can reduce launch costs by roughly 90%, so slash it down by 90% versus Falcon 9, dramatically expanding commercial space applications as well. But Dan Ives has also said that he values the AI business roughly at $1.8 trillion, expecting the AI-related revenue to exceed by $800 million. Sorry, my apologies there, big number, $80 billion by 2028, so making it the largest contributor to SpaceX's valuation. So Starlink is now serving more than 10 million subscribers alone, and this remains an earnings driver. There's also launch operations that are valued, but it's all separate. SPCX currently down on the day, 5.3%.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about it. When SpaceX was first coming to market, we talked about this absurd number, Obi. I don't know if you were reading up on this, but like it was something along the lines of a $23 trillion addressable market. But when you broke down each individual segment, you've seen where the majority of this is coming from, and that's Colossus. Starlink, yes, 10 million subscribers looking to grow and compete. All right. We also had, I forget who it was. They purchased another company, or I believe it was Rocket Lab. Yeah, Rocket Lab, but not necessarily a direct competitor. But where the real valuation and the revenues can grow from is the AI product. Now, we've seen SpaceX get hit today. Why? Because there's not enough demand for Grok's compute. So what is Elon doing? Something very smart. He's going to rent it out to some of the other names, the larger participants, the individuals who need it, the Anthropics, the GPTs, and potentially the Geminis. But look what happened. You got hit pretty aggressive here today, Obi. Why? Because now Meta is in the exact same boat as what SpaceX is in. They have a glut of compute with Mark Zuckerberg spending absurd amounts of money and hasn't been providing any form of cloud service. When I said that when we've seen throughout the previous quarters that Meta consistently increasing its capital expenditure, I'm like, but these guys don't even provide any cloud services. What's going on there? And I've been saying this for quite some time. If you go back into the history of when we've been talking about the news, it just didn't make sense to me. How are you the only one out of the hyperscalers that aren't having any cloud services? It didn't make sense. Now you're starting to see Meta step into the space. And with that being said, you've seen a little bit of a hit here within SpaceX. But the question is, what customers is Meta going to get? But that's where the majority of this valuation is coming from. It's Grok and cloud provision. It's not through, even though Starlink is one of the stronger revenue or sources of income for SpaceX, it's not Starship, right? Because that's really expensive and low margin product. It's really Colossus and the AI infrastructure that is going to be the future driver, and I shouldn't say future, but the current driver of SpaceX's valuation, in my opinion.
No, I think that's correct. I think when I was looking into some of the filings and their revenue, it was 18 billion out of like 24 or 25 billion dollars worth of revenue came from their satellite internet system there. But I think again with tickers and companies that are run by the man himself, Elon Musk, you do have to kind of understand the kind of participation that you'll be getting, right? And we talk about how the market is forward-looking, and it's understandable that right now, SpaceX, they make their money in other ways, and their main focus or foci are in different locations. But at the end of the day, like you look at something like a Tesla, right? People still say that Tesla is extremely overvalued. And what has that been done? People have said Tesla's been overvalued since day one. People used to say that PayPal was overvalued, right? I know it still trades, but at the end of the day, a lot of times people are not buying the SpaceX stock. People are not buying the Tesla stock. They're buying their ticket to access into Elon's company. That's what they're buying. That's the idea that they're buying. That's the sentiment that a lot of traders and investors have when they pick up on some of these kind of stocks. But that's just my opinion. Let's see what the stock itself has been doing since its recent IPO. I have a few anchored VWAPs here. Shout out to Mr. Shannon. IPO anchored VWAP. That's the light blue here. We've kind of rejected that this pre-market. All-time high anchored VWAP. We also rejected in and around that area this pre-market. And then this all-time low off of the opening print that we had, when is this? This is on the 23rd of June, anchored VWAP from there. So it kind of gives me a perspective of where different participants are sitting since these events, right? We're trading well below the average of both the highs and the opening print. Now we're coming into areas where the low print has been made in terms of relative to the anchored VWAP, and we're actually catching a bit of a bounce there on SpaceX today. So it should be interesting how this one kind of pans out. We talked about different price ranges. That 150 mark is that 153 mark is in and around that $2 trillion valuation mark. That 170, I think it was 174.50 if I remember correctly, was that price where if they can trade 5 out of 10 days, anywhere before Q1 report or their first earnings report, that 7% investors will have a 7% unlock of shares there at that price level. And we've kind of been interacting with some of those prices, but we've held above that 150 like a champ. And so far, as of right now, SpaceX is being defended at its IPO opening price. The past couple of times that we have been there, earlier on last week, and a little bit of, when was this? On June 23rd as well. So that's what I have watching on SpaceX. You also have to remember the opening range relative to where we are right now. We still have to keep an eye on that. We're within that opening range of day one over the past couple of days of trading here on SpaceX. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye here on USO and the market. We have more reports coming out here about these indirect talks held between the U.S. and Iran in Doha, Qatar. According to Axios, U.S. and Iran holding indirect talks in Doha, agreeing to maintain a one-week de-escalation while continuing negotiations on the Strait of Hormuz, nuclear issues, and regional security. So here's the thing. Apparently the main sticking point remains who controls the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. has basically told Iran that, hey, you know what's way better for you? A nuclear deal and getting assets or get sanction relief here. They're saying that's better than any relief that Iran could get if they start imposing funds. We're going to have to wait and see here. But either way here, U.S. and Iran indirectly talking. Big sticking point does remain that Strait of Hormuz. New story here with Stia.
Thank you so much. Let's take a look at Meta next. Shares Meta, as we do know it, have popped 10%. It's holding that momentum that it carried from earlier in the day. It's up 9.75% at the moment, very close to 10% after the news that the company is building a new cloud business that can help recoup some of the billions of dollars that it has poured into the artificial intelligence infrastructure. Bloomberg has also said that Meta will be selling its excess compute power to outside customers. So the company is debating whether it will offer this AI access to AI models that are hosted on its infrastructure, or if it will sell access to raw computing power. So Meta previously, back in April, had told its investors that it plans to spend as much as $145 billion in Capex this year. It's continuing to develop data centers and securing the graphics processing units needed to train AI models and also run large workloads. So by standing up a cloud business, Meta can potentially generate revenue on the capacity that it's not currently using. So the new business can also throw, I would say, Meta into a new and fiercely competitive market, which is dominated, as we do know it, by companies like Microsoft, Amazon, CoreWeave, etc. Like I said, Meta up on the day, very close to 10%.
Well said, Sia. I agree. And I mean, when you have excess compute, guys, listen, I've been talking about this for quite some time, and you've heard me mention it, all right, on multiple occasions, just the fact that you're spending $145 billion plus and continuing to increase your CapEx, but there's no real revenue stream. You're probably one of the least popular AI tools out there. You're going to have that glut of compute. And when you have that and it's just sitting stagnant, you're not making any money. And what I was worried about with this company specifically was we know that Mark Zuckerberg can actually get carried away with his capital expenditure. Now, we have the Reality Labs segment, but that's been operating at a net loss for how long now? You have to take that into consideration. And when he was spending a boatload of money on Reality Labs in the metaverse, what happened to the stock itself? It did not perform well whatsoever, okay? That's something that you really need to take into consideration, and what I was personally worried about. Why was I worried about it? Because this isn't the first time Mark Zuckerberg has done it, but fortunately, he's had an alternative route out of that scenario where he's spending too much money and no real way to monetize it, now finding the opportunity to do so within cloud compute and offering that access service, okay? So that's something that is really, like, in my opinion, is a massive change. And I don't understand why he didn't do this a long time ago, when out of all of the hyperscalers, he was the only one to not have cloud compute, or provide a cloud service, I should say. Think about it. CEO was talking about AWS, Amazon Web Service, okay, the first in class. Then you have Microsoft's Azure. Then you have Google Cloud as well. And it's like, okay, well, you're amongst those four in the data center build out, but you're not providing any cloud. Where are you going to make all of your money from? Because your LLM tools, your Avocado, your Muse Sparks, and your Llamas aren't performing very well. So where is this coming from? Okay, then they come up with the idea, we're going to add the paid tiers into Instagram. I don't think that's a major needle mover. Can it subsidize a little bit? I think so, absolutely. Oh, we're going to get into the prediction markets. Great. But that's not going to account for the $145 billion in Capex. Where is this money going to start to come from? And I'm glad that they did this pivot, because it was really key for the fundamentals of this company moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting, the timing of some of these news events. Like he's been sitting on the tech for quite a while, but maybe expenditure has gone elsewhere. Finally coming out with the news, we're getting a decent push back up. But kind of comparing it to what we've been doing since, I guess, March, April of last year, where we got that presidential bid, we've still been kind of chopping in this range on Meta. So yes, the sentiment today is very strong. It's bullish. We've been trading to the upside, and nice little continuation above 600 on the day today when it comes to the price action on Meta with 628 highs. But you can see we're trading well within range. So is this in bigger picture no man's land? I don't know. I think I definitely would classify that. But even if you kind of zoom out even more, you can see here, let me get rid of those. You can see here, we've done quite nicely from these lows that we came in on in 2022. I talked about Nike being one of the picture perfect examples for a potential reversion. Well, guess what? Meta is also one for a V-shaped reversion, a V-shaped recovery over here as well. A very classic textbook capitulation with increased volume, and we're coming in off of that from 2023 here, and it's been 3 years since then. And you were right. We've been asking, what is Meta going to do with all of this compute? How are they going to deploy it in any meaningful way? And today, I guess we get some form of news where, maybe that's in the potential of it happening, and we're catching a bit of a bid. But we'll see. We'll wait and see where this one goes. Like you said, Zuck is usually a little all over the place with what he wants to focus on, and that's kind of Facebook in terms of a company, right? How many of the projects that they've worked on over time and time again, how many of them have actually succeeded? How many of them have failed? More failed than not, but look at where they are regardless. So it should be interesting. The sentiment on the day is pretty strong.
Okay, England just scoring again, but Mopar for life putting up and that's why you see Nebius down double digits here this morning. Zuck selling Nebius Cloud he rents, not the excess. Yeah, he's going to the excess compute. He has to. He has no choice. He's going to do exactly what SpaceX is doing. All right. So there it is. Let's go there, OB. A nice reload. We're still sitting in this TQQs. Before we send it back over to CL, let's get one second here, Assassino. So here it is, right? Let's see if we can get a little bit of an uptick in the TQQs. We're long. If it breaks that, we're out of it. We took an L on this one, but what happened is the reload. You see my average on FBL go way up. All right, why? Because we added at the lower end of the range right here. Bang, posted up at 25s, caught the fill. It's not as much size as I wanted, but it's better than nothing, okay? So things are starting to look a little good here for FBL via Meta as it's making that additional leg higher. Didn't want to break lower, just going with the flow, and it seemed to be to the north side, so that's why we decided to have that add. I would have liked this one to get filled. Wasn't necessarily the case. Totally fine, but let's see if we can go and test that high of the day. The market's starting to find a little bit of a rebound here, guys. A nice strong uptick in the TQQs that sent things back to the desk.
Also rebounding here is Palantir, though the story not necessarily positive. Seeing reports that Spain is ordering the blacklisting of Palantir from public and private companies amid concerns over potential misuse of classified national security info. So PLTR in focus here. If they get more details, I'll let you know. Stock does not seem to care about this. I think we'll go over to the next story with Sia.
Yeah, that does not look great at all. Bad look for Palantir over there. Thank you so much, Adara. Let's take a look at our next story. We're talking about GM. I mentioned this very briefly in my Happening Now segment. We're going to take a closer look as to what's going on here. So it's reported a 4.2% decline as EV sales continue to fall. So its second quarter U.S. sales have fallen 4.2% on a year-over-year basis. Demand for its all-electric vehicles and Chevrolet Silverado pickup trucks have declined. GM has reported that it has sold 714,896 vehicles from April through June, which is down 746,588 units during the second quarter of last year. So its sales through the first half of the year were around $1.3 million, which is down 6.8% compared with what it was a year ago. And the second quarter sales are slightly better than the forecast last week by Cox Automotive, which had expected GM sales to decline 7.2% through the first half of the year, including a 5.1% fall during the second quarter. So GM North America President Duncan Aldred has said in a news release that they had is that our business is performing well and customer demand is resilient, especially for our trucks and SUVs. The depth, breadth, and the appeal of our vehicle portfolio allows us to lead the market in sales while also maintaining the discipline on inventory, pricing, and incentives to deliver strong margins. With that, GM is still, I believe, down on the day. Yep, 2.08%.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, it's not looking too great here. Light vehicle sales in Q2 of 2026. General Motors report sales down 4.2% to 714,000 vehicles, guys. The one positive thing where you can find some light at the end of the tunnel is South Korea unit sales up 6.6%. That year brought to us to 48,000 vehicles. Okay, I didn't know GM had, I mean, if we're going to call this any form of a presence in South Korea, when we had South Korea the other day, sell off the whole memory storage play there, Obi, which I know you caught the reversion, I believe, on it was when everything just was down double digits before the open. Now, as for some of the technicals, listen, I talk about these legacy manufacturers and how I don't strategically love them as a play. We had Ford, I believe it was Ford, stepped in saying, hey, we're going to start this energy storage segment. You've seen a nice consistent uptick within the underlying asset itself. But other than that, I just think there's too much competition. The union, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, if you work for it, congratulations to you. There's just too much of a hindrance on these American-made vehicles just due to the union. It really hurts their margins. Honestly, lacking innovation. And I know I'm going to start to grind some people's gears here and touch some heartstrings, Obi. But listen, these Chinese EVs across the globe, we've seen it within Tesla in Europe, really start to lose market share. I believe that we're lagging a little bit here in North America when it comes to some of the auto manufacturing.
Yeah, I do think Tesla's kind of, they're the first ones. They're the trailblazers. They're changing the game. When it comes to competition from overseas for GM, yeah, I don't think they're in too much trouble. I would say they've withstood worse over time.
They got bail. Yeah, if they're going to get a bailout every time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's in the nature of, I guess, how the company has been run before. Now, I'm sure there are opinions on whether or not that should happen or is allowed to happen. Whatever. Listen, that's not my job. My job is to be like, all right, what do they behave like, and are they going to do more of the same? And more likely than not, things and people and stocks tend to do more of the same, if not similar, especially if things have been trending. And when you look at something like a GM, you can see that, yeah, it's held up steadily quite well. A lot of sideways action, I guess, coming into the 2000s. But I guess 2020 was that shock that it really needed, because it clipped down to its range lows, and now we've been in a bit of a steady trend up here on GM. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I don't really have any strong opinions or perspectives on this one. But I understand in terms of investment, it is a vehicle for a lot of participants. But yeah, no, in terms of the news and some relative volume today, getting sold off on the day back into some prior range. 75 might be interesting as well. Another thing with NASDAQ and NYSE stocks is people like prices.
Yeah,
people
man.
like price, especially if it's a stock where it's heavily looked at by investors.
Mm-hmm.
People are more price dependent than anything, I would say.
Was there sorry to interrupt you there, Obi Adara. I don't know if there was any Apple news stepping in here.
Qualcomm had some news, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely something happening with Apple here.
Qualcomm had news.
Qualcomm had news. Let's see if we can figure that out here. QCOM. Let's see what it is. Spike up.
Qualcomm's happening right now.
ETF battle. Okay, yeah, so Qualcomm, you've seen the volatility spike in some of these names. You can see Apple breaking through here, guys. We'll get that to you momentarily. I don't see anything on my news blotter right now. Adara's going to find something. It may take a little bit longer. She can get it quicker than I can. But Qualcomm spike up here, Obi, so that's looking pretty good. I know Katina Man's going to like this, man. Qualcomm, Katina Man. Adara.
Love it, Qualcomm.
So this, actually, I already saw this story, but I only saw it with regards to SpaceX. Qualcomm's implicated, though, it looks like. So we'll take a look at SpaceX here. Not really moving too much. Wall Street Journal reporting that SpaceX has a prototype of a handset-like device that's going to be shaping how people interact with AI. Now, how does Qualcomm fit into this, you may ask? According to this Wall Street Journal report, this device would use a Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset. So again, we've got SpaceX coming out here reportedly announcing this, or showing a prototype to investors of this new AI device that would reportedly use a Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset. SpaceX does not care. QCOM certainly does.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Dara. Yeah, Qualcomm snapping and getting dragged to the upside right here. 190.65.
Crazy work.
As of right now.
Get it, Obi.
Not really, thank you. Not really any sort of a big reaction here on SpaceX at the same time, so maybe that'll come in a little bit later. But yeah, initial reaction pretty strong into 190s, and then now holding a bit of a chop here. Let's go to a 1 minute chart. So we did kind of pull back off of that.
Feels like
strong push
46.
there. SPCX right here. Yeah, nothing too crazy on SPCX as it doesn't really react too much to that news. That makes sense. Sometimes some of these catalysts, I always name them as a large cap association trade. Now, if we're talking about market cap, SpaceX is definitely up there in something like a Qualcomm, which is pretty decent in its market cap as well. Let's take a quick look what that is right here. That is not the information that I am looking for. Let's see right here, market cap, yeah, 194, just shy of $194 billion here on Qualcomm, versus getting a deal or getting a deal with SpaceX, who is an over $2 trillion company. Right, so that's it could definitely be. We could definitely see something. We're already seeing a strong reaction here with this large cap association for Qualcomm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all right, man. It's starting to get towards the end of the day here, Obi. We took a couple attempts on the long side here for the NASI. It didn't work for us. So let's pull this bat up here on the T. So again, number one did work. We tried again. Again, I was looking for more. Maybe we had to piece them off as we're now breaking through the low of the day, and that's just my signal to get out. We hit the reload on this one here, Katina Man. So both you and I are rocking and rolling with this. We had a bigger size posted up at 24.90s. We didn't get that, but this has definitely been the winner of the day. We'll shout out to some chicken dinners. Even though we didn't have that for lunch, we'll hit the Stone Cold. Didn't hit that today. Oh. All right. I sent Katina, man, a message yesterday hitting up Farm Boy with the chicken sausages, strudels on the barbecue yesterday. Listen, yeah, there you go. Oh, you have an animation for everything. This is crazy. All right, guys. Obi, so glad to have him back in the chair here next to me. The chat loving your return as well too, Obi. It's sometimes it's great like that. So Obi, we'll throw the old boy up there for him one more time, guys. Throw the ones in the chat for our guy Obi, as he will be joining us once again tomorrow, bright and early, 11 a.m. Thank you so much, my guy, and I will be heading over to that desk. You know, the ones that want to close off there.
Yeah, of course. We'll give you some time to head over there. Thank you for joining us. Once again, holiday shortened week this week. So Friday's off. It feels like it was just a couple of weeks ago we had another one, but I think we did. But so another holiday shortened week this week. So tomorrow will be the last trading day of the week. So thank you all for joining us here for the midday show. But don't go anywhere. We got the main show coming right back on at right now at 2 o'clock to take you off into the end of the day. Some crazy movers. BSP opened up during the midday session here at around $31. Bending Spoon, it was a 1.6